This episode of Limit Break Radio is made possible by our generous Patreon donors, including Celio Riverwind of Hyperion, Mesmerized Deo of Excalibur, Valdis Lunaris of Ultros. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. And by Alamo City Comic-Con, October 28th through the 30th at the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center in sunny San Antonio, Texas. Alamo City Comic-Con celebrates the artists that entertain us through TV, movies, comics, gaming, and cosplay. For more info, including badge prices, celebrity guests, hotel accommodations, and more, visit AlamoCityComicCon.com.
Live from Eorzea.
Limit Break. With your hosts, Nero.
Whatever, fruitcake, it's wrong.
Kahlo.
But he's actually hiding his emotions underneath a very thick layer of Axe body spray.
Juxtaposition.
And I love that I have an erection that didn't involve homeless people.
Ascalia.
And y'all know me, I'm no gossip. That is some scandalous ass shit right there.
And Mika.
What's that tell you?
Kind of a lot, actually.
LimitBreakRadio.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Limit Break Radio, episode number 58. Guys, it is so good to be back. I'm so excited.
59, don't you mean?
Is it 59?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm losing count.
What the fuck, dudes?
We're one away from 60. That's crazy.
Guys,
Old.
Wow,
why is the
I know.
chat... We're almost low cap.
I know.
Excuse me, guys. Why is the chat saying things like, Kahlo is alive? No, that's just Kahlo's ghost. The fuck did you say about me last episode? We may have killed you.
I don't remember. Honest, I
don't think we killed him.
I don't remember killing you off. That's a plot point that I think I would have remembered.
All right, because if I'm pulling a Nanamo right now, I'm going to be very upset with myself.
Yeah, fair enough. Welcome to the show. We are, of course, live from Eorzea. Let's kick it over to our Eorzean studios for what is going to be the last time here at the LBR studios.
Our show is ending?
No, it's not
Failing
ending.
podcast.
I know, yeah, we're a failing podcast. We're a bunch of racists. So we're just going to cancel the whole thing. We're going to pack it in. Apparently it's not cool to ask people to help you out financially over the internet anymore.
None of this was funny at all.
So we're just going to pack it in, guys. This is the last one. No, this is actually the last episode from these studios because Limit Break Radio, the free company,
has a headquarters.
Now has a new headquarters, and of course, we will be building a new studio forthwith.
Air quotes, we.
Yeah, well, you guys.
Juxta will be.
The LBR hostel community will be building it.
It's something to look forward to. We hope that you
Hostel community.
Hostel community. If you're on Sargentanis and you hang out with us in the link shell in the Laserbeam Raptors link shell, well, make sure that you hit us up, and if you want to become a part of the Limit Break Radio free company, it has become clear to us that the number of people who come to Sargentanis to play with us, to hang out, it was starting to get more than one link shell could manage.
Yes. Yeah.
And we started to have conversations about, like, should we maybe start another link shell and have, should we
fragmented, like,
sister
link
shell?
Like,
yeah, like like a splinter group or something. We decided
we really should have done that, because then we could have put them at war with each other.
It would have been like WCW and the NWO, my friend.
Laserbeam Raptors versus Laserbeam Rodents.
Kahlo takes the clan and just spins it off into his own thing.
Oh, God.
Anyway, no. So we decided that the best thing that we could do is pool resources together from various very generous people who reside on Sergeant Tannis and enjoy the show, as well as some of our own resources. And we ended up finally getting that large house.
Yes. I would like to throw a big shout out and thank you to the free company formerly known as Mognet Central, because they were selling their free company and obviously their house and their airships along with it, and we got the highest bid.
Yay!
Woo! Yep.
So
now, which city is that going to be in?
Yeah, that is in the Goblet.
Okay.
Yep. We are in Ward 5.
Yes.
Ward 5, plot 30. Yep. It's this nice little spot that's sort of, if you look on the map of the Goblet, we're in the lower right-hand corner, and it's kind of off to the side. We're like in our own little area.
Right.
There is a tiny small house next to us that Juxta, being the fucking terrible neighbor that he is, has fucking aimed cannons at them.
Excuse me.
It's not even a free company. It's one person.
Yeah,
and
one
he
person.
has cannons aimed at them.
He could jump over that wall at any time.
We need
protection.
He's
Are you saying we should build a wall?
We have a wall.
Well, who is
we
it?
now have cannons too.
I don't fucking
know.
know.
You don't even know their name.
No.
I've never seen them before either.
Aren't we supposed to like bake them a pie or something like that?
Okay,
oh, no, they're
you
supposed
would
to bake
think
us
so.
one because we're the new ones in the neighborhood.
Okay, that's true.
It's good.
Yep.
A lot
We'll
of
be
pies.
expecting our pies.
We didn't get a pie, so you know what? That's why we're at war.
It's really cool though because it has a perfect view of like the gigantic ass windmills that are in the Goblet.
Oh,
so
cool.
our company crest is now a windmill.
Yeah. I want to bring that up because before, when I was, managing the free company, I had a wonderful company crest. That had like a little swirl.
Company crest.
Company crest.
Company crest. I like
crest.
Let's go crunkany crest.
Crunkany crest.
Crunkany crest.
Which is
because
app.
It was accurate.
Yeah, I know. It had, a 5-leafed plant that was green.
That's right.
It had like a little swirly confusion design.
Was there a 5-leaf thing? Because I was looking around to find something with like 5 things to symbolize the host, but I didn't really find anything good.
You see, this is why you're a woman. Like, nobody cares about symbolism. we care about directness. There's a leaf, it's green,
It's
and
funny
you're
because
getting
it's sexist.
and you're getting dizzy and stuff, okay?
What? Wait, what?
What?
You know what? He doesn't. It's totally over his head. It's apparently too dense for him.
No, if Nika had said that, I understand that, but I'm not a chick anymore.
What?
Oh my God! Wow.
You're a woman because you're trying to find symbolism in words and like artistic, like
I think that's just called
literature.
being an intellectual.
Why? Why are you trying to do this? Like, why would you try to do that?
You fucking plebs.
See, his I got. Like, his I saw it and I was like...
mine's funny.
Exactly. I looked at it and I was like, yeah,
and yours is boring. And you know what? I recently found out that you can actually put your
windmills?
You can put your company crest like on certain pieces of armor. So we could all be running around with marijuana leaves on our armor.
Yeah.
Fucking potheads.
Don't you want?
Why don't you go hang out with the Vath?
Don't you? Well, I do a lot.
Yeah,
I'll bet you do.
A lot.
We are best friends right now.
I like their quests.
Yeah.
What can I say?
One in particular, I'm sure.
There's a few of them.
There's actually a few, yeah.
Yeah, you know
There's
what?
actually a line of dialogue where the goblins say that they're running low on the Nanka eggs, and they need more because they're starting to get the shivery shakes.
It's kind of dark. It's a little. It's a little dark. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little dark. It's a little dark. But yeah, no. I get his. Yours is dumb.
All right. Well, why don't you just go when we get back home? You can go and change the company crest.
Okay, and I'll do it when you're at work
and not
using your computer.
You don't know my password, bro.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us here on Limit Break Radio today. We've got a lot to talk about outside of the fact that there's like literally nothing going on in FF14 right now. Surprisingly, we do have a lot to talk about. We're going to be sitting down here with Sonomaa of Order of the BlueGartr. They had really interesting interview with Elysium. We're going to talk to him about some progression rating. And
Say him?
Yeah.
Elysium's an entire free company.
No, we're talking
with Sonomaa.
We're talking with Sonomaa.
I thought you said they had an interview with him. I was like, wait, what? Yeah,
Do you read our outlines,
no,
Nika?
I know what the outline is.
Do you do show prep?
She's picking apart the way that you said it. Apparently,
I misheard you, or I misunderstood the way that you said it.
Okay.
She's another intellectual, Aniro. Okay, these women know what it's all about.
I resent that.
So
she is a Rogadan. She is so far from being a woman that it ain't even funny.
That's fine.
No,
fair enough.
I like Crazy Beans comment. Smoke fog weed every day. Just a couple of quick notes. We have gone through and we have separated our RSS feeds. That means if you are subscribed to the Final Fantasy XIV version of our feeds, we got a lot of podcast feeds because we make a lot of podcasts. We don't just do Limit Break Radio. We also do another show called Final Encountercast, which you can check out over at twitch.tv/Final Encountercast, live today at 5 p.m.
Which has way more, by the way, than 3 episodes, which is about as far as most other people get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you're not wrong.
I don't lie. And we've also got Refresh. Refresh took a little bit of a break this week due to additional technical reasons. We'll get into that. We'll talk about all of that here on the show, because I'm sure that everyone wants to vent about all of the nonsense that they've dealt with this week. But we front-loaded the show with all of our complaining and belly aching last week. So this week, why don't we actually talk about some important stuff like Alamo City Comic-Con. Guys, thank you to Alamo City Comic-Con, first of all, for sponsoring this show. They are so awesome, and taking us out. They're bringing us out to San Antonio for the event October 28th through the 30th. If you live in the area, or if it's something that you would want to travel to, we're going to be out there. We'd be happy to meet you. We'll have more info about an event and a meet and greet, exactly where that can be done as the event gets a little bit closer to us. But Alamo City Comic-Con, it does a lot of different conventions, and I just want to take a second to talk to you about one of their ones coming up in May. Because who doesn't love giant robots, right? It's called Cyber City Con. It is a convention celebrating giant robots of all types, from Transformers to Jaegers to Evangelions to Gundams. All mech heads are welcome here. Some celebrity guests include Dan Gilverson, who is the voice of Bumblebee in Transformers, and also voiced Spider-Man and Peter Parker in the original 80s animated Spider-Man.
I actually have a quick interjection here.
Yes.
You said that the convention celebrates giant robots of all types. Evangelion, those aren't actually robots.
Funny.
Fine. It also celebrates dead mothers in metal suits.
Thank you.
Spoilers.
Also, artist James Reyes, who has worked as a background artist for Dreamweave Comics and worked on other properties such as Wonder Woman and Hulk, as well as voice actress, everyone's favorite Tiffany Grant, everyone's favorite fucked up redhead. The voice of Asuka from Evangelion will also be in attendance. That is Saturday, May 7th and Sunday, May 8th at the Marriott Plaza in San Antonio, Texas. Guys, check it out if you are in the area. Last time we did a giveaway, this one was conceived by Mr. Papa Woody.
Yep.
Woody, thank you very much for your contribution. So, would you like to announce our winner, since you were the one who came up with this thing?
Sure. The winner was at Cecil. That's not.
There's no. Yeah.
That's how he pronounces it. I think.
I'm pretty sure that's him, right? I don't know, but it is Sealy.
Sealy.
Ciele. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No. Fair enough. Okay. Yep. It's not Cecil.
They want a 60-day time card.
There you go. You're gonna get a 60-day time card from Limit Break Radio. Thank you, by the way, to who's the one that donated that? I forgot. Oh wow. We're terrible people.
Yeah, we're bad. I bet Kookie knows.
We are terrible, terrible people.
Kookie, are you there?
Holy just now realizing that?
Oh, awesome.
She's probably muted.
Yeah. So.
Well, thank you, somebody.
Unbelievable.
We may not be a failing podcast, but we are failing human beings.
We are failures.
Yeah. A forgetful podcast.
Yeah, you're not wrong. All right.
Really interesting thing, though, is that only 6 people tweeted that contest. So when we tweet out a contest, you guys have a pretty fucking good chance of winning.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah, not gonna lie. So maybe just keep that in mind. Someone won a free T-shirt out of another small pool of people a few weeks ago. So keep your eyes out, guys.
Yeah, that's right.
These are easy picking prizes.
That's right. And all you got to do is listen. You generally we don't set the bar very high unless we're giving something away that is like bananas, like that signed art book from Yoshi P. Bananas. All right, let's check out what's going on in FF14 news.
This is a Limit Breaking News Update.
A whole lot of nothing, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. But we do want to remind you that the deadline for the Heaven's Word Music Contest is tonight, tomorrow. The deadline is April 11th. So make sure if you have been working on something diligently and maybe you got distracted, now's the time to finish it.
Someone in our chat had said they would transcribe music for me, and then I don't know if they ever sent it. But if you did, let me know, because I was never able to do it.
Yeah. So I don't know. You may have missed your deadline. I know they did extend it to April 11th, but I can't seem to quickly find an exact time on when this closes. Here we go. April 11th at 1 a.m. Pacific. So
4 a.m. our time.
Yeah.
By the way, the person who gave the time card was Ludacris.
Thank you, Ludacris. We appreciate it, Ludacris. Sorry for...
you appreciate it so much,
for being terrible.
And Cecil was the one who won the time card. Kooky just spelled the name wrong.
Oh, wow. Don't we look like assholes?
Right?
Wow, this show is off to a great start, guys.
It is.
Papa, this is all your fault. This is the type of shit we don't pay you to do.
That's
okay?
right.
I'm sorry.
Get your shit together.
That's right. It's not like this show came together 12 hours before we hit record or anything.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Kidding, obviously.
No, that would never happen.
To be fair, this has been a shit week for everybody involved.
It really has. It really has. But this past week, there was a very interesting interview that was released by BlueGartr. And joining us from BlueGartr, we have Sonomaa. What's up, Sonomaa?
Hello.
Hey, thanks for joining us here on Limit Break Radio. You've joined us in the past. You called the show before we had you on in the olden days of talking about, what was that, the salvage dupe bannings, and a couple of times after that. We appreciate you coming on. And before we even start in on this, I do have to give a shout out to Frosty TV, who talked not only about this interview, but actually got a member of Elysium to come on to the show and talk to them. I have not watched the interview, but it's one that I am definitely going to make time to set aside and watch.
Just one of like 24 equally appalling videos on your website.
I'm not sure that applies. I think we have far more appalling videos on our website.
Definitely.
This is not about us.
The monopoly on that.
This is about other people's websites at the moment.
So Sonomaa, thanks for joining us. We did want to talk about this interview and also kind of get some of your insights about it. So starting off, like, how did you guys conduct the interview? Because it was with several members of Elysium. So did you guys do it over Skype? Was it done through email exchange, chat exchange? How was it conducted?
It was actually done from the forums. Goka is a member of the BG forums, actually a moderator and good friend. And I messaged him and said, "Hey, if I gave you some questions, do you think Elysium would ask them?" And he's like, "Sure, that works."
Fair enough.
So I jumped on BG chat and rambled off to a few members asking for some questions and came up with some on my own, and also decided that I would take the questions as seriously as Square Enix is taking creation of the raids, so that's why half of them are serious and half of them are bullshit. So that's how we went through, and he passed it out to, I believe, all the members, and several of them answered. I think they focused primarily on the teams. I think Tempest had 3 people answering, and otherwise it was the individual teams. We're trying to get an interview still with Foldosaurus because Foldosaurus Rex is cool.
Well, it definitely was a very interesting read. A lot of topics covered there that we've talked about here in the past, just kind of relating to the way that the level of devotion and the level of time that we commit to this game or any other game, and what kind of role that plays in our personal lives. And you hear so often, oh well, the reason I don't raid is because I don't have time. The reason I don't raid is because I have a life, I have a job, yada yada. And so
what? I'm the only one who is raiding. Shut the fuck up.
And so I a lot of those sort of like more personal questions were questions that I really appreciated and found some of the responses really interesting. And now we don't really want to go through like a huge like point by point breakdown of the entire interview. We want to encourage you guys to go read the interview because it's a fantastic interview, and get some great responses. But there was some stuff that I wanted to highlight because I thought that it was worth discussing, and it was worth opening up the floor to discuss with you guys as well. So, by the way, if you'd like to be a caller to Limit Break Radio, send a Skype message to Limit Break Radio or 810-515-8715. We are going to be talking about progression rating, world firsting, but we also want to hear from you, and because a lot of these things are very relatable. A lot of the things that you think like, oh man, how do you devote that much time? Like, how do you devote that much to world firsting? Because it is a huge undertaking, and you get a little peek at it here in this interview. One of the first things that you guys had asked is about eliminating mistakes, and I thought that this was just they gave some very straightforward answers. A lot of people are like, well, we bash our face against it, it's so frustrating, and how do we how do we properly adjust? And we've talked about in our raid anxiety topic in the past, reviewing footage and and looking at using external tools to be able to evaluate performance a little bit more objectively, and that's a lot of what they echoed as well. There's a lot of reviewing data and just trying things and just doing it, like making pulls and not standing around and over analyzing in between pulls, and just keep working it, and it really just sort of makes sense. Like when you think about it,
learn by doing.
Yeah, you learn by doing, and you use the tools that are available to you to try to learn what's going on to get a better battle awareness. Now, what's kind of interesting, Sonomaa, is that I thought that this would have been an interesting point for them to talk about what kind of role parsers and parsing plays in, external tools like ACT end up playing in progression rating. Now, there is a direct question a little bit about that a little bit later on, but it just seems to kind of go without saying that these are just simply tools of the trade that you're going to need if you're going to be that dedicated to world firsting and progression.
Absolutely.
So, that I found very interesting, and more questions in there about, real life jobs, and balancing, having to maintain an actual social life and a schedule and everything like that.
A lot of people say like, oh, well, I have a life, blah, 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 this, and that, I don't have time. And I think the reason why people who actually do raid and who do this stuff take so much offense to the idea that I don't have time, I have a life, is because it's not really about you don't have time.
Right.
You don't want to make time. That's honestly what it comes down to. The reason that we don't raid is because we don't want to make time, right? I mean, all the streaming that we do, I mean, I streamed for 12 hours yesterday. I've been streaming like 3 to 4 hours each night.
Right.
If I wanted to raid, you're right. I absolutely could.
Absolutely.
But then there's other stuff that I wouldn't be doing.
Right.
So it's a give and take.
No, you're absolutely right, and I think that commitment and that plays a very big part there, and and a lot of the responses are what you think is that it's less about, oh well, I don't have time, and it's more about active time management and making the time.
But to be fair, though, it really depends on your life. I mean, if you are a married person with kids who are 3 and you have multiple, there's really not a lot of time you can make even if you wanted to.
Well,
so you can't really say that they just don't want to make time.
Then progression rating is not for you, because and we're not just talking about regular rating. We're talking about like world firsting. You know what I mean? Like that kind of that's the level of dedication that we're talking about here, is to be committed enough to getting the world
but when
first.
you look at the people who are world firsting, I mean, it says the interview said that most of people in Elysium are under the drinking age. They're all in college. They have all of that time. Like, even if they wanted to not have time, they would still have time because they're students. They're not. They're not married. They don't have kids.
Don't know that
it's
that's
very
fair,
different
though.
in that sense.
In before email calling Nika out on her bullshit.
No, I mean, obviously, depending on what kind of student they are, or what kind of thing they're going for. Some of them might have less time than others.
Nika, right here, Area Tarka 12 in the chat says, we raid with someone who is married and have kids. I'm married, work, I'm in grad school, I raid almost every day. So actually, yes, it does come down to it. Anyone can raid if you make the time, but depending on the person, depending on the situation, that could be more of a monumental task for some people than it is for other people.
We're also talking about world firsting. And world firsting, not everybody has that kind of time.
No, not everybody has that kind of time. But you also have to realize that as soon as a patch hits, that's the shotgun, or that's the starter gun. There is a limited amount of time, and you are competing against every other group to get there first.
It's a countdown clock that you can't even see is going down.
Yeah, world first is a totally different animal. And so, I mean, to hear about the way that they manage time and some of the real life jobs that they do hold. I mean, yeah, are a lot of these kids young? Yeah. Sure, and I understand that because when I was younger, I did have a lot more time to.
Nero was part of the Moonglow Defense Force, so you show some respect.
That's right. But
progression rating is a job. I mean, some people don't look at it that way. Like, rating is not a job; that's a hobby. Progression rating is a job. That is, I finish my one job, I come home, I shovel shit into my mouth, and then I get on and I start grinding, and I don't stop grinding until I look at the clock and say, I can survive all 5.5 hours of sleep.
Sonoma confirms Elysium eats shit.
The thing that's always kind of bothered me with raiding in this game, though, is that there is no hard content for 4-man groups. And I think a big part of the problem is that, you may have 7 or 6 people in your group who are totally motivated with that same aspect, but then you have 2 people who are really good friends or really good players, but their schedules don't quite align with yours, and so you're kind of stuck revolving around them.
Well, sure,
maybe but you should move to Gilgamesh.
But I mean, that's easily as valid an excuse as, well, I can't manage the time properly to be able to commit to it.
Well, guess what? If you're doing world first progression, then if they don't have the time and dedication to do it, then
they're not doing world first. You're just raiding.
Area Tarka in the chat again says, all of my group are married adults or adults with full-time careers. That's why we can set the schedule late at night. We've also cleared A8 Savage, so we're not world progression, but I still think that they're pretty hardcore.
Anyway, there are some.
There's still a difference between hardcore and progression rating.
There really is.
You're looking at okay, a new patch is coming out. The next 2 weeks are nothing but this. I mean, if you read further on in the interview, they are taking vacation time. They're not taking, a few extra hours every night. They're taking a few extra days in the week.
Correct.
And that's do that without losing my job.
Progression and rating.
But there's the other thing about progression rating, too, is you're right. When it's happening, it is a job. But between patches, once you've gotten that world first, then you can lax your schedule.
Right. Yeah. Well, that was one of my big takeaways. Was the question asking a little bit farther down in the interview. How much. Like how much time do you devote to gaming? And one of the responses was like, during progression, it's like 16 hours. But after that's done, but after that's done,
drops dramatically.
It's like to maybe 1. And I mean, I get that. Like, I think, you have to be motivated on a completely different level. I mean, we're talking, it's like we're talking almost like about like pro athletes at this point who are just like they're training themselves for that sprint to get there. And there's a bunch of other, I mean, let's not forget that there are a ton of other groups that are vying for this spot. Just because Elysium currently is rocking the shit.
And in multiple games too.
Lucrezia, is right on their fucking heels.
Well, it was before they broke.
Right, but there's always going to be the next up and coming thing.
Yep.
There's always going to be the next group. And you know what I mean?
Depending on the game too, like for example, World of Warcraft puts their stuff on test servers, so you can bet your ass that progression rating in World of Warcraft, you start before the patch even goes live because you're on those test servers trying to learn the fight.
Yeah, you have to be on those test servers if you want to be world first, because otherwise you won't know the
all
mechanics.
These people are going to have learned the fight before you've even touched it.
Yeah.
And that's why people in World of Warcraft are quitting, because progression rating in World of Warcraft starts on a test server where they
it's
might
preseason,
find bugs
baby,
and not report them. Yeah, but they find bugs, they don't report them, they get their world first, then they get it taken away because they exploited a bug. That's why the WoW's way of testing their rating, I hope to God Square Enix doesn't do that, because that will ruin everything.
I agree. Yeah, that is a pretty big detriment there. I liked this question where you asked them to rate the raids, and I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to throw it out to the chat room as well. I'm curious to hear from you guys too. If you had to order the raids in order of enjoyment, what would you put it as? And I mean, break up, second coil, final coil, break them all up. But the response there was that Gordius seemed to be pretty universally reviled. That Alex 1 was just a huge misstep for Square Enix, and that second coil seemed to rank very, very high in most of Elysium's list there. And I think that's probably pretty pretty representative of what you'd find overall if you polled the entire community.
That's a hard question to think about, though.
I thought it was a great question. I really did, because where Midas fit in those rankings too, I thought was really interesting, because there was a couple where Midas was way at the end, and then a few where they were like, wow, Midas was really great. So Sonoma, were you surprised by that at all?
I was actually surprised that the Alexander raids rated below the bottom 2 for some of them. I was completely unsurprised. I knew that Alex 1 was going to be rated last or close to last for everyone, because I mean, let's be obvious, that was a terrible raid. Literally terrible raids. Normal was too easy, Savage was too hard. But I was not surprised that the coils were rated where they were. I was kind of surprised that first coil was rated low in some of them, but it was pretty much, it's either going to be final coil or second coil rated top, because I mean, the coils they had such a great idea on how to put the coils together, and they just forgot all of that for the Alexander stuff. We
honestly
just forgot how to do them.
For me, I mean, obviously, I don't have as much of of experience doing them when they were relevant, but just through all the feedback that we've heard, doing the show from all the raiders that we know or stuff that we've read, I think the way that a lot of stuff ranked kind of makes sense. I mean, no one's going to question the fact that Gordius was on the bottom. It fucking sucked. The fact that you said Midas was either on the bottom or near the top, I mean, that makes sense to me because it does have great, interesting mechanics, but when it comes down to difficulty, I mean, the world first was cleared in under 2 weeks, right?
That's how it was for every coil, though. Like, the only one that wasn't cleared in 2 weeks was Alex one.
And I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone is probably going to agree that you're right. Second or final coil are going to be near the top because that's what you hear everybody say. The fact that first coil was that low, that doesn't really surprise me.
No.
I mean, one of the turns you just flat out skipped. The other one was entirely trash. And, even turn 2 was just, the ADS balls.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if I was looking at it through nostalgia glasses or something, but I thought that, since Coil 1 was the first set of raids, it was the first kind of, thing like that we had in the entire game, and every single coil had a unique mechanic we had never seen before, I would rate it much higher than last. Like,
you'd be wrong, but okay.
I mean, Coil 1 had a sub-boss, it had this double split snake mechanic, it had the feeding of the slugs. I mean, there was so much in there that was so hard for people who had never, for anyone who had never done that before. I thought it was very interesting. And how Coil 2, or second tier 2 had different options, you can go different pathways. We don't get anything like that in Coil.
I think pathways are cool. I'll give you that one.
And that's part of the other thing too is that you got to remember back when it was current content. This was pre-Crystal Tower, so it was they wanted to make it a little bit more raidy, and as opposed to what it seems to become now.
Okay, no, you know what? You're right. All right, I'll give you that because looking at it now, I mean. Even the snake thing, the whole twin split mechanic, that's fucking
and
used.
Feeding the slugs while standing on
Hold
platforms.
on, that's used all the time. I'm so tired of twin split crap. But the fact that you're right, the actual arena was interesting. It wasn't a circle fucking room.
Yep.
And it was an actual little zone in there. So no, you're right. I'm gonna give you that.
There was actually kind of a lot about the first binding coil that was really cool, but I could understand from a rating perspective why it doesn't really stand out. But it you do have to acknowledge that it was trying to set the stage for what rating would look like in an overall general sense, because you had elements from Binding Coil that were then kind of used a little bit more in Crystal Tower, where you had trash packs and different kind of platform designs and mechanics that functioned that way. And then you had, of course, the the difficulty of T5 in there as well. And so I don't know. I think that they were trying to set up they also had a lot to prove because there was no rating in 1.0. There was a couple of dungeons, that was it. There was nothing that you could really consider a good raid in 1.0, and so they needed to prove that they could.
Well, Garuda in 1.0 was pretty fucking hard.
It was a boss in a circle room.
It was.
Wasn't
but again,
a raid.
It was the first time we had hide behind the pillars.
No, you're right. You're right. No, I'm not saying
there's a lot of new stuff and it was hard.
Oh, I'm not saying that there wasn't hard content, Nika. What I'm saying is that there wasn't anything that you could call a raid. The biggest criticism of 1.0.
Primal farming, that was it.
Right. Yeah. The biggest criticism of 1.0 at the time was that there was just nothing to do when you got to level cap. So, they wanted to prove, okay, look, here, we can do something. And I think that was a pretty good initial showing. So, I'm not surprised that it ranked low. But at the same time, I think it does deserve a little bit more credit than it gets.
I would say that second coil ranks the highest for me. Because the glamour is the best of them.
Oh my god.
Gortys is last.
This next question, we've spent a lot of time talking about this, especially when it was even just an idea, when it was proposed. So getting just Elysium's thoughts on, did story mode end up cheapening the raid scene? And just a couple of quotes that I wanted to read directly from here. Dynamo says, it killed the story aspect that was so strong for the coil tiers. You already knew everything before you even phased in to kill the first boss in Savage, and you also had to kill each boss multiple times on normal mode, so to have your gear to bolster your chances of clearing Savage version. So you've probably killed the normal mode final boss in excess of 10 times before you even see the Savage version. Imagine killing a glorified Fate version of Bahamut Prime 10 plus times before actually facing him in Savage. It just demotivates you. It just really killed the medium core scene as one of the big motivators for people to raid back in the coils of Bahamut days.
That quote right there actually really resonated with me. All right, near the end of like a patch cycle, you know how like worn out we get just going into fucking like, you know, Void Arc or farming this easy shit where we literally can go in and snooze through it. You know, these guys suffer from the same thing, but probably on a level that's 10 times worse, and then they have to go in and actually force themselves to pay attention to it. Like, man.
Yeah, I really did it. Dynamo sums it up perfectly right there. It is that was a big motivator for people, especially mid-core. You know,
I mean, you of all people.
Yeah,
the story was a big thing for you.
It was a big thing,
and you know, the story isn't even all that great.
Yeah, even if it was lackluster, I feel like you know, I would be putting in some time in harder raids to be going after it, but the carrot is just not there. Sonomaa, were you surprised by any of the responses to this? Because I mean, you know, this is something that you've talked about in the past as well. So curious what you had to think about that.
I was completely unsurprised that they did not like how 3.0 raids have cheapened things, because I mean, when you look at it, a raid, if you look back on, this is sort of stepping a tiny bit back to the previous question, but if you look back on the coil raids, the one thing about the coil raids in almost all of them is you had some trash, you had sometimes a sub boss, and then you had your fight, be it a circular arena, square arena, whatever. Now, and then there were your other ones, which were your fights against the primals. Now, if you compare them, most of your Alexander stuff is primal fights, because you literally walk right up to your boss and start fighting them. And instead of a circle arena, sometimes it's a square arena. And sometimes you have some jerk-off giant robot standing there that you got to beat up before, but he doesn't give you anything.
Right.
So when I looked, I mean, this was a leading question. I'm not gonna say that I didn't know what their answer was going to be, but I really wanted to see if they had a different thought process from me as someone who was a mid-core raider in 2.x, and just there's no mid-core right now at all. There's no option. Anybody who says, "Oh, I'm a mid-core raider," you know, we work on Savage. So Savage is supposed to be your toppest tier, your people who have the extra hour to devote. You know, I only want to raid 2 days a week. I only have time to raid 2 days a week. So telling me that I have to go in and spend more than 2 days a week to even be able to progress is just like, I don't understand why you can't have your normal mode, which is still hard, and your Savage mode, which is what the fuck, and then when your next story level comes out, here's an echo. It makes normal mode a little bit easier, but you still have to pay attention.
Right.
I feel like they said, oh, well, everybody really liked all the primals, so we'll just give them more fucking primals.
No, I totally, I totally agree. And, you know, that's a really good point, is that, you know, they were already with Coil beginning, you know, they nerfed it over time. They made it easier over time. And that, I mean, think about how easy Coil is to go through now. And you really want to tell me that we needed to give people a fast forward button to right now? Like right now, most competent parties can clear through T13 like it's Alexander normal.
We are 10 levels higher.
That's exactly my point.
That's the fast forward button.
Exactly. That's the fast forward button.
Or 50% echo.
Right.
I mean, that's really that. I mean, don't call it echo. Call it story mode.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. No.
Story buff.
Exactly. Although I did find, Layla's response interesting because it broke with a bit of the consensus. And Layla says, I think what they've done with Midas is ideal. The main difference between Midas and Midas Savage is the number of concurrent mechanics a player has to deal with at a given time. Teams will be familiar with most of a fight's mechanics from their time spent in normal mode, and must then discover how those mechanics interact with each other. This is the learning curve of Midas Savage. I thought it was an excellent design choice and a breath of fresh air from Gordius. This is, I think, a very good point, and it's what they. I feel like they did Square Enix did as much as they could. And did it well, like mechanically designing the fights, that they could to pull back the damage that they did with Gordius. But, and this is kind of tying even back to what Sonomaa was saying a second ago, is that it really doesn't do anything to rebuild the mid-core scene. There wasn't much there to begin with, but there was a sort of mid-core scene that existed in 2.0 that has just been completely decimated by 3.0. But Layla, I think, is a bit of an optimist here, and does kind of remind us that, look, they're making improvements, they're making steps in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the next step, which would help, it's not going to help the mid-core in much way, but I think would at least make the people who actually raid the Savage modes a little bit happier, is I think that Savage mode should come out like 2-3 weeks before story mode does, and there should be an achievement that is available within only those 3 weeks, that if you clear it, you get a fucking kick-ass title.
I mean, that
would motivate me a little bit.
That's something. Yeah, it might.
Or even do what World of Warcraft does: give world first and server first titles.
I kind of disagree on that, because you have lots of issues of sabotage that can go on, or groups that might, instead of be looking to progress themselves better, look to progress themselves using less than stellar tactics or use exploits. I actually believe that Savage, just like it was, do you remember when they released First Coil Savage? They said, point blank, this is the untuned, fucked up version that we first tried to play.
Yes.
And
but how many people actually participated in that? Wasn't it extremely low?
Yes, because Savage should be optional.
Right.
You have your normal mode, you have your hard mode, and then you have your what the fuck mode. Your what the fuck mode is built for people who want to take what the fuck time to do what the fuck shit. Right now, you have normal mode and you have Savage mode, but you don't have anything in between. But since you don't have anything in between, normal mode is basically like cleared by pugs in the first hour.
Right.
And means nothing.
And I mean, here's the thing though, is that if you're gonna have a what the fuck mode, then it's got to have a what the fuck reward attached to it.
Absolutely.
And I don't know that there's a title cool enough that would.
It shouldn't be time limited though. It should be something that,
I agree.
like, okay, you did finally beat this. But the thing about Alexander as a whole, arranging a pile of shit in a pretty pattern is still a pile of shit.
I'll tell you what though, having server first rewards, that would get people to disperse from Gilgamesh and from Bahamut.
Yeah.
People would leave and go to other servers to get those server first rewards.
Actually, that's a fair point. I got to give it that.
And it would definitely spread out that raiding community.
Yeah.
It would spread out the raiding community, but you would also have groups that get put together to try to do the server firsts and then break. So you would have a lot of guilds that were breaking more often than not. I mean, you would have 10 new ultra hardcore progression guilds come together and then immediately break.
Right.
So it's a trade-off that essentially, really, honestly, only benefits Square Enix because they're the ones who are getting all the server transfer money.
That's true.
So,
well, that might not be a bad decision for them. I mean.
But then you have the assholes who come together, try to put together a server first group, get a house, then kick everybody out and say fuck off.
Wow.
So it's a slippery slope. I think making better raids is more important than trying to attract more people to play Savage.
Well, and I mean, just to your point, I don't know if we really need to build in systemic protections for people being assholes. Let's just let people be people.
Yeah, we don't want to get into Nika territory.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But toxic communities kill communities because the toxic people are always the loudest. So,
and yet League still continues to fucking
be a toxic cesspool.
But it doesn't. It's not killing itself off, though. That's what we're all waiting for. It just continues to flourish in its toxicity.
People.
To be fair, though, its toxicity has really toned down over the last few seasons.
People have been saying the same thing about us for a while. Just saying.
Yeah, since Final Fantasy XI, people have been talking shit about you guys.
I know.
Still here.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And Nero, talking about like Layla having a different response from the other thing, what really struck me about this interview was how often they all disagreed. Like, I kind of thought that as them all being these hardcore progression endgame raiders, they would all kind of have the same mindset about things, but almost every question there's a lot of disagreement.
No, you're absolutely
even between groups.
Yeah.
If you look, Sardigan Hawk, Balaran, and Cupcake Corgi were all from Tempest, and their answers were a lot of the times completely different. Mm-hmm. So it looks like some of these guys get off on the hardcorest of the core, and some of them are just like, I like to play with my friends, and this is the best way I can to play with my friends.
Absolutely. I mean, there are some people, a lot of people really enjoy Dark Souls, like they enjoy the success of Dark Souls is just, proof that, difficult games can be very commercially successful. And there are people out there who do want a challenge. As video games evolve, they don't want the same, collection challenges that they've been put through in the last console generation. And as games become more complex, you can make them do much more complex things. It is a very kind of cool trade-off, but I mean, I also understand why it's not, it's not for everyone. It's a very kind of special breed of person that goes for these kinds of achievements. And Escalia, you're right too.
Wait, what?
That even among a group that has such a unified goal that they are just individuals and they all just kind of have their opinions and they come together and work as a team. It's pretty cool to know that.
The question about the parser really surprised me. How many of them were like, no, who cares? Like, I would have thought that group particular would have been like, oh my god, parser.
Actually, we're going to get to that.
Okay.
You're skipping ahead a bit here. So questions about skipping cutscenes, most of them yes. Single characters or alts, most of them play alts to be able to maximize gear drops, and I guess that just makes sense. There were some comparisons to other MMO endgame, and there were some great quotes out of there that really you should take time and read this interview over at BlueGartr. I'm sure Kookie has provided the link more than a few times, and she will again at the request of me, I'm sure. But go check out the link to that interview. Read a lot of these answers. They're very, very good answers. One of the most interesting questions that I found on here was if they could adjust the raids in in a very short, succinct way, what would they do? And the biggest thing that was hit over and over and over again was connection issues. Connection issues are a huge, huge problem. And I mean, they plague every player. Let's be honest. They plague everyone. But I could see, especially in progression and world firsting, that has to be a huge source of frustration. And that was the first thing that jumped out at me. It was like, fix the fucking packet transfers.
Can you? I mean, just think about it sometimes. When you're playing, you're doing like a fucking farm party or something. I mean, even last night I was doing some T13 glamour farming, right? and somebody DC'd near the end. And I'm like, oh shit, is it one of our fucking tanks or healers? It wasn't. It was a DPS. But the idea that we were about to wipe in a 6-minute fight, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is fucking bullshit. And like putting myself in like the shoes of like a world progression where like you're at like 5 or 6% and someone DCs and you wipe it, I jump off a fucking building.
Sonomaa, were they talking about something a little bit more specific than just in general the connection issues that all of us have to put up with our various ISPs, or is there something a little bit more specific that they were getting at? Because they didn't really expound on it in any of their responses.
So as I looked at it as someone who had to deal with the Final Fantasy XI era where you rated on servers in Japan, we're not rating on servers in Japan, thank fucking God.
Right.
But what we are rating on is servers in Northern Canada. We're not rating on servers in our coasts. We don't have an East Coast server. We don't have a server in Atlanta. We don't have a server in Texas. We don't have a server in California. We don't have a server in Colorado or something like that. We're not sitting on multiple backbones that gives us like, oh, this is an East Coast, Gilgamesh is an East Coast server. Sargantus is a West Coast server. You play to your server strengths and time frames.
Which is,
we have all.
I just wanted to say, which is a common structure that MMOs do use. They use, regional server banks to be able to provide players with more stable and better, ping times to their servers.
Blizzard had that back in the Diablo days.
Shit.
US East, US West.
Ultima Online had that.
Yeah.
So did EverQuest.
Yeah, exactly.
And here we are at the mercy of the maple suckers.
Goddamn Canadians.
Actually, we're not, because they don't have fucked up restricted internet like we do. So in theory, they're doing better, because I'm sure Blizzard has to pay out the nose to get their trunks set up to get preferential treatment. Remember when I think it was Comcast or Roadrunner were throttling Blizzard servers specifically, and if you had them on the ISPs, like Canada doesn't do that shit. The problem, the reality.
Can you just let me hate on Canada, please?
No, I can't, because Raggins is from Canada, and Raggins will melt you.
But he's French. That's different. He's okay.
Well,
wait, we're gonna say of all the Canadians, the French Canadians are okay?
Yeah, I like them.
I thought it was the reverse, but
yeah.
Why don't you Canucks go back where you came from?
Okay, yeah. So I do get what you're saying. Having one centralized data bank for most most all of the connections coming from North America, there are problems there, but Square Enix did address the European server issues.
Which is great.
It is great, and it sounds like they've done so with great success. So maybe server structure is something that they'd be looking to adjust in the future. It never happened in the entire history of 11, but
11 didn't have as many instance servers and stuff as we do.
That's true.
Like there was
11
so many
had no instance servers.
Where when I think we were doing A1 Savage, and literally no fail, every time we'd enter A1, our bard would disconnect on entry, and then he would log back in and be fine. But every single time, I'm like, there is something with the connection that's just not right here.
It's because it's not a local node that they're transferring to. It's a completely separate server. You literally are going into a pocket, and they copy your character over to the instance server. But that instance server is on a different server. It's not local to that network area. You're copying over, and they're switching the connection over. I mean, the game would run a whole lot better if they stuck, a few servers in Atlanta and a few servers in like Texas or a few servers in California.
Sure.
Or just, sat down with some companies like Amazon to help them get a great structure. I'm sure that everything being dumped in one place for North America, all of North America, is a cost-cutting measure.
Yeah.
But I think we're at the point now with the popularity of the game. I mean, even with the subscriber drop-off that we're having with the 3.x raids and stuff, because we all know there's a subscriber drop-off.
Yeah.
I think at this point, if if connections were the least issue, you know, I was really hoping with this question, if you were given power to adjust the raids as few words as possible, what would you fix? I was thinking like maybe they would say like make the raids a little bit more longer or have a better storyline. But no, it was like the ping is shit.
Yeah.
Because when, you know, we're basically all, if we're not bleeding edge raiders, we're all pubs dropping into a CSGO server and shooting our M4s and doing whatever. These guys are like, I have 15 ping, and 15 ping is not as good as 5 ping, which is land ping, and I can't hit my fucking shots.
So
for them, it's so much harder.
Yeah, well, because it affects the performance and also you know, the time devotion too. You know, like you're in a race against other, you know, all of the other groups that are going for that world first, and you know, that's I have to believe that is a huge source of frustration, that, you know, you just get a brief, you know, a brief dropout, or you know, something. It just, yeah, the difference that 10 seconds on that, or the, you know, the
it is actually a really big deal. Actually, we as ninjas have a saying, and
Jesus.
Bad connection is how Raytons turn into Fumashurikens.
No, that's true. That definitely is true.
Well, if you're putting
or bunnies.
If you're putting 16 hours a day into anything, you expect it to work right.
That's also true.
If you're paying money for something, you expect it to work right.
That's why we're okay with Papa fucking up every once in a while.
Rin Chan now actually brought up a really, really great point, and this is something that that a lot of people have to do, and they can't play the game without a VPN.
Myself included, yes.
And the fact that you probably have to pay for a fucking VPN, because you know, there's good VPNs and there's shitty VPNs, you know, and the difference is basically $5 a month. But the fact that you have to pay for a VPN because you probably have that one Comcast connection that runs through that broken ass router every single time.
Yep.
And the fact that you have to do that means that there's not enough pressure being put on North American or really American ISPs to fix their broken shit.
I agree. I totally agree with that. Totally 100% agree with that. And that's something that I actually mention every time to Comcast that I call them. Because one of the things that I've started doing is every time I have a problem, even if it's a connection dip for 10 minutes, I'm, boom, on the phone to Comcast. I'm going, what is down? What's going on? What's going on with the network? And every time, you know, I'm on the phone with the customer service rep, I'm going, you know, to be able to do my business, because, you know, I look at what I do when we stream. You know, we want to be able to provide a good product. We want to be able to provide something that's watchable for people. We don't want to have it, you know, have the connection stuttering or, you know, constantly wiping to fucking Crystal Tower because the connection, like my connection can't fucking get through shit. You know what I mean? Like dumb shit like that. Like it's very, very irritating to have to deal with that, you know, when you stream, when you do progression, when what you do is attached to playing an online game.
Yeah, that type of thing.
And I always mention that I have to pay for a VPN, and that, you know what, they should really be picking up that cost.
Yeah, and that isn't even something that affects, you know, like the hardcore raiders, or even if there was a midcore, or you know, even people like us. I have a friend in the UK who plays on Sargentanis, and she flat out cannot do dungeons without friends because her lag is so bad that if she does it with anybody else, they call her out and abuse her for being a fucking shit player.
Yeah.
When on her screen she's out of the AoE, but it hits her every fucking time.
Yeah,
you should just constantly
playing on servers around like the total opposite end of the world. Like,
except
that's going to do that anyway.
No, because there are other people who are like in the UK or who are playing from that far away who don't have those issues. Silite plays from New Zealand, which is like literally the opposite fucking side of the world, and she does great. She does fucking amazing.
Yeah. The other thing that I noticed is that you know, the other suggestion, if they could change the raids in any way, A few people mentioned they would like to actually see more mechanics and actually see you have to do more mechanics instead of sacrificing a player or having to cheese around a mechanic to be able to get that world first. And we had kind of touched on this earlier, where when we brought up the subject of rewarding world firsts, that you would have a whole bunch of groups that were then really clawing after that world first and really using by any means necessary, exploit or not, to get there. And I thought that this was just an interesting response, given that a lot of the clears, especially in Gordius, came from
A4 had a lot of sacrificing people. Right?
Yeah, not I wouldn't say like totally cheesed, but there was some people who were asking like, "Oh, is this like a legit strat? Is this what you have to do?" Like there was a lot of conversation about that. So I found it interesting that even from the Raiders' perspectives, they're like, "Look, we don't want to try to have to find shortcuts around this shit or just a way to deal with it. Like let's have more mechanics. Like using death to get around it is shitty."
Right, when you're competing to be world first, you'll do whatever you have to do, but even they're kind of like, I don't want to have to do that. I would rather just have everyone do the mechanics.
And what that really comes down to is testing their raids better and just design overall. Right. Because when we first heard about this strategy, we also praise the idea that there could be multiple ways to deal with something, but it would be better if those multiple ways were more clear cut and it wasn't something like, oh, you have to die in order to get this benefit.
Let's just feed someone to it.
In most of them, I'm actually surprised that in World Firsting that they had the gear to, if they let someone die, that they still had the DPS to clear it without enraging. So I think there's a way that you can, that it's better that you don't want people, make it reward people for you don't want them to die. If they die, you're going to lose something from the overall.
In that case, though, the person dying, let them skip a mechanic that put everybody's DPS down. I think was the reason.
Yeah.
Suicide requirements and one-hit kill mechanics are lazy creation.
Yeah.
Unless you have a Dragoon.
Then it's
every mechanic is a one-hit kill mechanic.
Yeah, then it's just par for the course.
It really needs to be something where you reward players for being able to manage and survive crazy components. I mean, I'm not against healers DPSing, but I would rather healers do more of what their job is, which is healing, and it's not letting EOS spam the heals while you play budget summoner.
Do your job.
Tonbarian in the chat saying reset cooldowns on wipe. That's the number one.
That is the number one.
Yeah, no,
for me too.
It should have been in there from the start.
Oh, absolutely.
Area Tarker 12 again with a nice little gem here says, "You guys are wrong. The cheese is intended. The entire raid tier currently is about goblins and the search for the ultimate cheese. The devs are encouraging you to find the cheese to win the fight easier, Uplander."
They're making goblins out of all of us.
So notes on job rebalancing, mostly just comments about how bad SE mishandled Bard. We played Rank the Tank, which, I mean, the responses are obvious. We'll play it in the chat. Guys, Rank the Tank, what do you guys think? Which is best? First, second, third? Warrior, Paladin, Dark Knight?
I'm going to personally say, for me, I prefer a Warrior Paladin than a Dark Knight.
Well, that is, most people would agree with you. And that seems to be the
only reason that I put Warrior first is because they give me a slashing debuff. Otherwise, I'd put Paladin first.
The thing is, I don't know. I've played as a Paladin. I've played with both Warrior tanks and Dark Knight tanks, and Warriors get maybe 100, 200 more DPS, but overall, in terms of survivability and in terms of doing the fight well, I don't really see much of a difference in co-tanking with the Warrior or co-tanking with the Dark Knight.
I think if you're at the point where you're doing progression and world first stuff, though, your survivability is just a given, and having the extra DPS is important.
Well, and most of it is that you definitely want a Warrior 100%, but that Paladin Dark Knight could kind of be filled either way.
Yeah. I don't know. Our group is a Paladin and Dark Knight. I've been doing Paladin Dark Knight for a very long time, and
Well, this is why you're not world first,
I was going to
Nika.
say, those poor ninjas.
How far away are you?
I want to be world first.
Think of the ninjas.
They don't have any ninjas, remember, Juxta?
Yeah, we don't need a ninja.
Oh my god!
So
look at all the DPS that your Paladin and Dark Knight are losing without that slashing debuff. No wonder you can't win.
questions about favorite moment of Coil. A lot of Terraflare in there. Favorite moment of Alex, which is notable because there really is none. There was like no reaction to most of it was like, nah.
Oh no, Dynamo hit that shit right on the head.
I do not have it right in front of me.
Favorite moment of Alexander Rage. Dynamo's answer is simply when we unsubbed. That is the giant glowing sign in the sky that says your progression raiders are looking forward to unsubbing when somebody beats it.
Yeah.
Means you fucked up.
Yeah. No, that
raiding's supposed to be an addiction, not a one-off.
Great point. And now here's where we get to the question about parsers. Ascalia, you brought this up earlier. I had made a little bit of reference to this very early on, but this I thought was really interesting. You asked straight out, is Square Enix really doing damage by not giving us a parser? And the reaction seemed very split.
I should have worded this question better. I really should have. If I had to go back and do it, I really would have said, do you think Square Enix has wasted our time by not giving us add-ons and spent development time creating an entire mini system for gauging people's DPS that should have been put into making raids better? Fair enough.
What I find interesting is that nobody even really talked about ACT. Like, the ACT is basically a foregone conclusion. I would be interested to hear their opinion on, well, if you couldn't use ACT, like if you wanted to take the hardline stance, the hardline ethical stance against third-party programs that some people like to take in this community, would Elysium, even at their elite level that they function at as players, what would they be losing by losing ACT? You know what I mean? It is so critical to progression rating and to most rating in general that it's bizarre that this is even a question. It's almost bizarre that this is even still an issue, because if you removed ACT from Elysium, I don't know that they would be able to still get a world first.
Oh, I think they could.
I don't think anybody could as quick as they could, because bleeding edge rating, progression rating does not start until you have a way to find out where your problem is.
But exactly, and my point is that it's not that they would never clear the raid. They're clearly talented players. Mm-hmm. They're clearly very talented. But somebody else, some other group utilizing ACT would come and get that world first.
The problem that it comes down to is if you have no way to look at your damage and you're wiping it 5%, you have no way of knowing where you can find that 5% at. But when you have detailed logs of where your damage is coming from, you can actually look at that and be like, okay, we can probably squeeze out a little bit more here if we do this, if we allow, this DPS, just something. I mean, when we were talking, I think it was to Arthur's one time about the idea of, like say you have a ninja, timing your trick attack with everyone else's cooldowns is going to get you more DPS than if everyone just uses their cooldowns randomly spread out, not on blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it does. It absolutely gives you better situational awareness. It allows you to analyze what just happened outside of simply reviewing footage. There's a lot of advantages to using ACT. It's just, is it possible to be a competitive raid group going for world first and not use ACT at all at any point?
Not if other people are still using it. If we're talking about taking away ACT from everybody, then sure, it's fine. But if you're just saying this one group is going to say I'm not using it, you can't. How would you?
So if that's the case, then how can you look at parsers and say, well, Square Enix doesn't need to put one in this game?
That's why there are no PS3/PS4 progression raid groups that are winning. Because they can't look at the numbers and find out where the problem is.
Yeah. I mean, it is a necessary tool. And I appreciated your question, Sonomaa, even though I know you said you would have rephrased it. I did appreciate the question, just being bluntly put out there. But it is, I mean, the way that everyone talked about it, it's not even an issue. It's a foregone conclusion. You're gonna need this. You're gonna need this.
I feel, and I don't mean to, for anyone in Elysium who is listening, I do not mean to come off as rude or cruel or that I dislike you guys, but I feel that this question specifically might have gotten a little bit more of a softball answer than I thought they would get, because it seemed very much like what Balana Ral said. No, official parsers are tricky business, and people will see it as an entitlement to berate anyone underperforming in content where maximizing your class's personal potential isn't necessary.
Right.
No, that is bullshit. Because in progression rating, anyone who is underperforming is holding the entire group back. You cannot take that stance. Like, okay, I can completely see if you have add-ons actually turned on and they finally give them to us, parsers being set off in a secondary add-on phase where pugs don't automatically turn on parsers unless everyone's agreeing. But there should be something, because, I mean, remember, ACT is accurate, but it's only accurate, and I'm using finger quotes, accurate to the point of them guesstimating what DOTs are, guesstimating what certain percentages are. So ACT is not accurate. ACT is probably 90-95% accurate. You can maybe make an excuse that it might be 99% accurate, but it's not 100% accurate. And for bleeding edge progression raters, we have really a requirement for having something that is as accurate as completely as possible.
Right.
So we can work on that. It almost feels like SE isn't giving us parsers because they think we're going to exclude players.
Yes.
But the reality is you have to exclude players on bleeding edge raid progression.
Absolutely.
I would be excluded from raiding on bleeding edge progression because I don't have the time to make my bard perfect.
Well, and I think
I do have the time to make it medium core.
Well, and I think their fear is that you give those tools not just to bleeding edge endgame players, but you give those tools to everybody, and then that sort of like, well, you're not good enough mentality will start to permeate in other directions of the community. And I don't think that that's true, just because I don't think that the challenge is there enough to justify that mentality being at all valid. Like, you're really gonna look at someone on a pug for a dungeon, if you're taking people for a dungeon, you're gonna check their eye level? Fuck off. No, that's not what's happening at all. And it really is an unfortunate straw man that people drag out. Well, it could really bring some discrimination to FF14. Okay, fine. That's not the worst thing in the world. It also brings more objective data from the source to the game. And I think that is much more valuable than some feelings that might get hurt.
If you're worried that much about being hurt by ACT, your underperformance is probably low enough to where you're already being ridiculed.
Yeah, you're already noticing it. Yeah. I honestly can't see the exclusion being much, if any, higher than it already is. Like, people who are even hardcore or midcore rating exclude people if they're not doing well. Like, it has nothing even to do particularly with a parser being in the game or not.
Hold on. Hasn't Nika, weren't you one of the people against that there was a logs website, right?
FFXIV,
where you could go to witch hunt. Weren't you against that?
I'm against it or I was anyway. I still kind of am, simply because you can see the logs of people that aren't in your group. I think parsers should be just for the people and what's affecting you directly. I don't think you should be able to search anybody and see it.
All right. I get it, Miss Clinton. Thank you.
Delete the emails.
Delete the parsers.
Honestly, that site ended up being a lot less toxic than I thought it was going to be.
No, it's a great tool.
And I still haven't used it because I don't quite understand it, but from what people that like tell me that they looked at it and they used it, it does, for whatever reason, it didn't turn out as bad as I thought it would.
That's interesting. This tool, this hammer, has not been used to bash in heads, but to hammer in nails.
Oh,
that is odd.
Interesting. Does that maybe prove that in certain circumstances that this community is not as immature as Square Enix thinks that we are? I mean, they seem
Square Enix is not looking at the fact that Blizzard has had parsers in their game basically since the beginning.
Yeah.
And yes, people have been excluded. You occasionally get that post where it's like, I was kicked out of a raid because my damage was shit. I'm a really good hunter. I can do all this. Well, maybe you were a pretty shit hunter and you're making excuses for yourself. The parsers should be there as a tool to show people, oh man, I'm doing shit. And if you're going to sit there and say, well, I'm doing shit, but I'm playing the game my way and I'm paying for it so I can do whatever I want. Well, you can do whatever you want over there with the people who aren't fucking raiding.
Yeah. So questions about balancing life and raid mostly comes down to communicate with the people that are close to you. Let them know that you're going to kind of be MIA a little bit. Clear videos. This was interesting. Sonomaa, can you explain to me why? Because one of the responses said that clear videos had become a little bit controversial. And also, I like the little shout to Arthur's there who had hosted us earlier. I think Arthur's might be hanging out in the chat. What up, Arthur's? By the way, congratulations. I want everyone to
massive congrats.
Yeah, huge congratulations to Arthur's who just received a sub button.
Oh, yay.
Congrats, Arthur's. Come on. Pop a clap.
There are a lot of people that I come across on Twitch where I'm like, damn, I can't believe that they don't have a sub button. Arthur's, when I came across his channel for the first time, it blew me away that he did not have a sub button. So congratulations. It is well earned. It's fantastic to see, Sly recently got his sub button. Yes! Arthur's getting his sub button.
That's right.
Congratulations, dude. All the love in the world. But anyway, can you explain to me why are clear videos controversial right now?
Clear videos are controversial because it goes back into World of Warcraft's clear videos and in groups releasing the clear videos or not releasing the clear videos. In some instances, your clear videos were not released because they were using an exploit. In other instances, the clear videos were being released because they literally were showing people exactly how you can play, things that might be being done differently. So the reason people delay clear videos is because when you show the clear videos, you're literally saying, this is exactly how we beat it. You can watch it. And it's very likely when you have your groups that are on bleeding edge, there's one little thing that's being done differently that you see that and you're like, oh shit.
Glass shatter.
That's exactly, exactly what we do. Christopher Nolan horns are going off and you're,
blown.
And you know exactly what you need to do then, and suddenly you get your clear.
Yeah,
I made the little jab at Arthur's. I'm sorry, Arthur's. It was all in good fun, but because you had asked for the clear video and they politely declined, and I said, would they delay it further just to piss him off a little bit more? But I love you, Arthur. I don't get to watch you because you're on when I'm hardcore at work. But I was so proud of you when you got that button.
Seriously,
because Arthur's links us when he puts his tweets out, and I make it a point to always try to retweet him, and I make it a point to try to retweet other Final Fantasy XIV raiders, because the reality is streamer wise, we don't have a lot of people representing our community in streaming that we get to put props on. I mean, I can't sit there and watch Twitter every single minute of the day. So what Arthur's, he tags us. So if anybody else wants to tag BlueGartr in their stream for Final Fantasy XIV, I will, if I see it, I will 100% hit it with that retweet just to get you some traffic, because you deserve it.
We'll have our accounting department get in contact with you and we'll work on it.
hey, BG operates off of donations, has since the beginning. We don't operate for profit. If we did, you'd be having pop under pocket pussy ads everywhere.
Anyway, going back to raid videos, though, I have to ask, like, if you're already world first, you've already got your clear, you've already got your stuff, and holding out on a clear video just because someone else is only like one mechanic away from clearing, and you want them to figure it out by themselves. Like, what exactly is the reason? Like, what's the toxicity behind this? Like, this game is not competitive like 11 was. Like, you're not like showing, oh well, you can compete against me to claim an NM and defeat that NM is very different than a completely separate instance where the only people who benefit are the people in your group. So if you already have world first, then
that's the reason.
If you already have world first and what is the harm in helping other people do it right after you? Like, you've already done it.
It's respect.
I was gonna say, Nika, you're gonna ask a question. Damn.
Well, like, I don't understand.
No, I agree with you, because the idea that you're not releasing your clear video because you've used exploits, that's obvious, right? But that
happened in WoW a lot, especially during the
once you've already cleared it, it shouldn't really matter if people see how you cleared it. But I do think that there is maybe some type of something to be sort of gained from the fact that, we want to clear it on our own.
Right.
But
then just don't watch them.
there could even be some tactic that maybe you're using that a lot of people don't realize that could be used in more than just that fight, but just in a general sense overall, and now you've given that edge to your competition later on.
Well, I think...
But again, it's not really a competitive game because your group is not directly competing against the other group.
Well,
Layla... If it was a competitive game, people wouldn't release videos at all, but they give them the 2-week period out of respect. It's like, okay, we know you guys are at 2-3%.
Yeah,
we're going to give you the respect because you guys are that close, because most of these groups are usually winning by centimeters, not by inches. So they're giving them that respect to get it on their own, which is about a 2-week period.
And
that makes sense.
And people still compete for second and third place, and you might have given an edge to somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess. But if you don't want to watch the clear video, then just don't watch it.
Well, but it's different. Yeah, it's still out there, and if it's out there, there's always that like, oh, but did somebody use it?
Spot.
Yeah, did someone use it as a source? You know what I mean? Like, there's always that kind of question. It's like having an asterisk next to your name on getting a title or something like that. But
nobody wants to be carried by Usain Bolt to the finish line.
Like,
exactly.
Oh yeah, Nika finally got that clear on AS4, guys, a day after the video came out.
Yes, exactly.
But the thing is that if you don't get world first, what do you really win? Like, people can say, oh, I was world third, I was world fourth, but like, honestly, world first is like the title. If you're world fourth, I'm not sure that really holds up, regardless if there's a video or not.
I really liked Layla's quote here, who said, the topic of the videos is a controversial one lately. As a community, we need to decide which direction we want to take FF14, which direction we want FF14 rating to go. Do we want to be a community that fosters competition, or do we want to be a community that fosters communication? While we've always pursued competition, I don't think that it's right for us to decide this on our own right now. I think that's a great way of putting it. It's always kind of been the unwritten rule of 2 weeks, and then put it out. That it makes sense to me. Like the way that they put that. It is a question: do we want to foster competition, or do we want to foster communication? And I think as long as it's not a long-term holdout or a long-term lockout and neener, we got it before you did. That kind of like that. That's not what's going on here. So I definitely appreciate the perspective. And it didn't even occur to me about like waiting 2 weeks out of like respect for somebody else's pride, how that might be a shot to the pride. Didn't even occur to me. So I'm really glad that you guys brought that up. And then the kind of towards the end here, we got the question, so why do you progression raid, which I thought was a really interesting question. And a lot of people joked about the fame that comes along with it, but like, is there really fame that does come along with it? Like,
We're doing a show about Elysium right now.
I think there obviously is. Everybody, like, game-wide knows who it is.
Absolutely, but any more or less so than, your Joe Nevers or
it's just,
you know what
different
I mean?
levels and different.
It's different stuff.
Different things.
It's different stuff.
Yeah.
It's totally different stuff.
Well, if you talk to someone random that you meet in game who doesn't progression raid or doesn't listen to like a podcast, would they know who Elysium is? You just said, "Hey, how about Elysium?" Would they know that Elysium was world
some
first?
people will, some people won't. Just like some people don't know about us.
Oh, I know, but I
Oh, you mean that Matt Damon movie? That Matt Damon movie.
That
was great.
right? Yeah, exactly. No, I get that some of it was a bit of a blow off and a bit of a joking about the quote unquote fame that comes along with it. But I mean, like even inside of our community, if I no offense to any of these dudes, if they walked past me, if they server transferred, walked right past me, I wouldn't know who the fuck they were. But a lot of people know who Aniro Grigori is, so it's like,
was this whole thing just to put yourself up there?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's just
a loud asshole.
Just to make myself feel a little bit better.
But it's more because they're known as their free company name. They don't necessarily are known from their.
Yeah, you'd have to qualify yourself by going, oh yeah, I'm ex Elysium.
True.
I don't know. Everyone knows who the fuck Nero Grigori is.
I don't know any of these names, but I would say no Elysium. And Sonomaa, I'm really salty that you made the Elysium reference to Matt Damon because I've been thinking of a way to try and work that into this show since we fucking started. Bitch.
It was in the.
This is why I'm world first on BlueGartr.com, and
there you go.
I just had to. I waited 2 weeks to release my interview.
So thank you, Sonomaa, for coming on and for helping us kind of discuss the finer points of the issue, giving us some of your perspectives and just kind of your opinion as the person on the other end of that interview of some of those responses. We appreciate your time today, man.
I really appreciate it. I do have one thing that I want to say to Elysium. As a free company based on this interview, because we skipped half the questions because half the questions were silly, fishing and tacos and all that stuff. But when it comes down to it, I got a lot from this interview as who these guys are as people.
Yeah.
And as people, I am proud to have them represent us as an end game community.
Absolutely.
As the world first, because they are respectful. I mean, Layla's answers were amazing.
Very well thought out. A lot of you could tell.
Very well thought.
You could tell a lot of time, a lot of thought were put into those responses. Absolutely.
So it goes to show that this wasn't an arrogance thing for them on their answers. This was a trying to foster a community, trying to foster an endgame group, and that's the difference between Elysium continuing to get world firsts and us reading about it on some website that Elysium broke up 3 weeks ago over whatever bullshit.
That's now that you mention it, you're right. This whole interview, I mean, every single answer that they gave was very those themes were definitely there about this whole thing of communication and kindness and just wanting to work together to achieve a common goal.
Yeah, I thought it was a very, very good representation of some of the best, some of the best that our community has to offer. Just best people. They seem like very decent people.
It's a nice juxtaposition to shut up to what we portray here on our show.
That's absolutely right. That's right, because we like to wade into the shit. Like we like to get knee deep in the shit.
Speaking of, another gold nugget from Area Tarka here says the whole point of progression rating is because it gets that much easier to secure that sweet e-pussy.
That is true. That's true.
It's why we're gonna hear about Elysium. In my opinion, and I hope I'm right, we're gonna hear about Elysium more in the future because they've maintained a respectful level of awesome. It's one of the reasons BG is still around. Is we worked really hard to not just be world first on killing all the shit in the expansion, but try to foster a community, and they're doing a really good job in speaking out and being kind and not just being like, look at how fucking awesome we are, guys, suck our edicts. And it's like they're being good people, and good people is what this game needs, because good people bring in more subscribers, and more subscribers means that Square Enix pays more attention to us, and we're not just the game that is a holdover until the next Final Fantasy comes out.
Absolutely.
when they decide, okay, 14 is doing good, but we need to do better by the 14 players and not let them down, because it's important that we are able to maintain this amount of free money that we get and this amount of good PR that we get. Because let's be real here. We all know what happened in 1.0, and the fact that they have said many times that Final Fantasy XIV saved the company as far as their face goes. So
absolutely,
I want them to continue looking at 14 and saying, shit, we got to keep working harder because these people depend on us.
Yeah.
And we will depend on them.
Absolutely. And folks like Elysium chewing through the content as soon as it comes out and really pushing themselves as people, as individuals to what sometimes seems like very extreme degrees. That's a lot of dedication. And so big shout out to Elysium, and hopefully they like the way that we were talking about them today. And they also seem like they had really good senses of humor too.
Yeah.
I think you have to when you are that dedicated and you're with the same people and you're doing the same type of content over and over and over. If you don't have a sense of humor, you'll burn out real fast.
Yeah, sense of humor and a thick skin. I think those are two qualities that I picked up on through that interview. So,
actually, if you go back to the first question, you notice that they didn't say confront other people about their issues. They were moving forward as a group of people who wanted to help each other. So there was no talk of, we have to stop Bob and Greg from arguing. It was, we look at our mistakes as a whole and move forward. And that's the difference between, for anyone who's wanted to put together your Bleed-Eyed Raging group, if you're gonna fight like bitches, just don't even bother creating your free company. Just walk away, because leave your egos at the door. Leave your egos at the door.
Yeah, Nika. What? Please, you have the biggest ego of all of us. Get out.
And yet people love me more.
Dragon says hi, Nika.
Oh, of course, Reagan's got to get a high Nika in there. Well, thank you so much, Sonomaa, for joining us. Sonomaa, of course, of Order of the BlueGartr. Check them out. Make sure that you sign up on the forums, post on their forums, BlueGartr.com. Go there.
No E.
No E. And I think what he meant was Reagan says bonjour, Nika.
Bonjour.
Do we even really need to qualify that it's without an E anymore? I don't. That's how I spell Garter now. Like,
oh my God, right?
Garter is not in my regular lexicon of words, mostly because it's not an article of clothing that I have to interact with terribly often. That's just the way that I spell it in my head now.
I guarantee you there's someone at least one person listening right now that has never been to BlueGartr and did not know how to spell it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, the other BG still exists, and I don't believe that they are competing, but out of respect for them, I want them, I want people to understand that there's a distinction. We still occasionally get people who are like, you guys are the world first guild, I'm so glad you let me in. And I'm like, well, you failed the entrance exam to the BlueGartr on Excalibur, which is pay fucking attention.
Oh,
you just stood in the fire and walked into Gilgamesh, and they end up leaving a week later, and I find out that they transferred to Excalibur and ended up not getting in BlueGartr because
freaking idiots just sitting there like, oh no, I meant to get into this free company. That was a good joke, right, guys? And then just disappears a little bit throughout the week.
Gotcha. All right, Sonomaa, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate you coming on Limit Break Radio.
Thank you, Sonomaa.
Thank you guys so much. I have one shout out to Dead Catfish, who is a Final Fantasy XIV streamer that I discovered this weekend, and she's freaking awesome. So when she listens to this, hello, Dead Catfish.
That's what's up. Dead Catfish.
Interesting name.
Dead Catfish. Shout out to you. You'll get a follow from Limit Break Radio, and we'll look out for you when you're live and send you a host. Yeah, we'll send you a host. So again, make sure you check out BlueGartr.com. BlueGartr.com. There is no E in that garter. So here's a question, though, because, because we've gotten flack for this in the chat room. And
we've gotten flack for this all our careers, to be honest.
Absolutely. And even it started early, even in the chat room today when we put up the episode title and what the theme for the show is going to be, discussing progression rating. And it started early. Oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be this will be interesting. And so, I really want to take your guys' calls on this. If you want to call Limit Break Radio, Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, if you're dialing in from a landline. Or we also have Discord now, too. You can go to limitbreakradio.com/Discord if you want to get the server info and get connected. Kooky will help get you connected to the studios, and we will take your call. But... does Limit Break Radio collectively, can we even talk about this? Is this even a subject that we have enough authority to speak on? Because it's kind of funny because we were kind of looking for a topic for today. And
if it wasn't for Sonomaa sending us a message,
big shout out to Sonomaa for
you saved the show
for helping us out. But I started to realize something that we've gotten this criticism a lot. Well, you guys don't raid. You guys don't do the Savage raids. You guys don't do EX Primals. So how can you talk about it? How is it that you can have opinions about it? And I always thought that this was kind of kind of an external opinion that was projected onto us. No, come to find out that this may actually there may be a sentiment from within. That there might be within our ranks.
Fuck all of you.
There's
fucking Skuro.
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
No.
Like you mean within this room?
Not this room, but this radio show.
He's talking about me.
Yes, that's right.
Nika doesn't feel that we have any authority?
That's not what I said. You're twisting my words.
To talk about rating.
All right, well hold on then. Nika, why don't you tell us what your words actually were then?
Okay, I can clarify right here, right now. Yep. Okay. There is a difference. We are a podcast. We do have a voice, and we do have a chunk of audience that raids, and we also do have connections to people who do raid.
Okay.
So I think absolutely, as a voice for or in the community, I think we should definitely have it as a topic like we did today. We had an interview that was laid out. We had someone from the community who had an opinion on our show to talk about it, where we asked questions. That is totally legit, and we absolutely should do that. But it's very hard. I mean, I've read YouTube comments. I see what they're saying, and it's very hard to defend ourselves in saying, yes, we are allowed to have this opinion because, it's hard to say because we've not, most of our group hasn't even tried certain raids. So it's hard to say, yes, I have an opinion that the current raiding scene is totally horrible and it sucks. But how do you know that if you never actually tried it? So that's kind of where the line is drawn, I think.
All right, you're a teacher.
Your opinions from the chat on this.
You're a teacher, okay? So I would think you of all people would know that you don't have to literally experience certain things in order to talk about it intelligently or to have an opinion on it or to be able to look at information and form an opinion based on that.
Well, okay, as a teacher, I can actually disagree because there's a lot of research, and especially in elementary education, that if the children you're teaching don't have prior knowledge and background experience of what you're talking about, they are not going to quite understand or be able to click with it as quick as someone who does.
That's not what I meant.
No, so what I'm saying is
think about history
obviously I can teach about George Washington without ever having met George Washington. So that's what I'm saying. We can talk about the raids and say, this is how you raid, this is how you start raiding, this is where you go. That's information. You're teaching someone what is a fact about what already exists. Now, having an opinion is very different. Like the last episode, or not whenever episode, Nero and I were arguing about the state of the raiding mindset. I'm from someone who has been trying to form a group or to get a group together, and it keeps failing. I have all this personal experience, and Nero's no, the raiding scene's fine. And I'm how would you know? How do you know? You don't know.
But there are people out there that would have his same opinion because they're doing fine. So you also have to remember that, okay, you may be in the rating community and you're actually out there rating, so your mind frame to you has more authority than a Nero's mind frame, but aren't you also biased?
I mean, it's sort of, but what I'm saying is, like, when I see it also within other raid groups, like, I actually I have like 3 or 4 link shells that are just full of people who raid, and all of these people have very similar stories, and I would love to hear the opposite stories of mine from someone who actually has a successful story. I just haven't found anyone.
All right, I tell you what, why don't you
hang on. So if a Nero comes in and says, "Oh no, it's fine just because I think it is," and there's got to be someone out there that's an opposite story than you.
It's not because he's thinking. Okay, fine. Is Sonoma still here?
No, Sonoma's gone.
You know what? We're going to get you in contact with Sonoma, and I bet you he can get you the email address for several people in Elysium who would probably say the rating scene is fine.
Look.
Well, you don't know that for sure. You don't know who Elysium's contacts are. That group might be fine, but they might have seen other groups on their server totally fall apart.
Well, and here's my problem is that I have opinions about like first of all, let's just be completely transparent about how much rating any of us have done. I'm going to say not all that much. I did some casual rating
you did some good final rating.
I did some casual rating in 2.0 and did some EX Primal fights in 2.0, and a lot of that fell off in 3.0. Kahlo,
never done any serious rating in Final Fantasy XIV, but back when I was in World of Warcraft, I led a few progression groups, and I put together both 10-man and 25-man raids on a weekly basis.
And this is not supposed to be a dick-waving contest either. This is not I'm not saying this to be defensive, like, oh, well, I did do rating, and so...
Totally.
Hey, no. Juxta, how about you?
The most really relevant content I've done in 14 is Shiva EX, but I have done a lot of raid management in World of Warcraft and in Final Fantasy 11.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Final Fantasy 11 for me too.
Yeah, I was Pug Life in 14, ran Link Shells in 11.
And Nika, you obviously
I can say I cleared every coil tier while it was relevant.
Right.
I got through A2, A3 broke our group, and I am currently 9% away from clearing A5.
And you were also sanctioned as world first for Pandemonium Warden in Final Fantasy 11.
Oh, and FF11, sure, but
that's no one can take
different. It's not different.
No one can take that title.
We are talking about your experience in endgame environment.
Okay,
but
not
different.
Was the only other MMO I played where I did have a link shell that liked to face bash and stand around and camp NMs for 48 hours straight.
Trash Panda TV wants me to also point out that I did Sephiroth EX once.
But here's my point. Okay, if we were setting out to make content much like Mr. Happy does, or like MTQ does, where it is very didactic, it is instructional. You are trying to talk people through the very minute portions of these fights, the very minute mechanics of these fights. That is never something that Limit Break Radio has done in the entire time that we have been a show for FF14. We are never, this is how you do it. But it is more just conversation and opinion. And so, yeah, like, you actually can have opinions, and they can be completely valid opinions, even if you don't have the experience in the area that you're talking about. It happens all the time with under a variety of circumstances. And it happens here because this is just like, we don't put any requirements on our hosts. We're like, you need to have X done so that we can talk competently about Y. You know what I mean? Like, that's not, that would be insane. You know, like, if I tried to, like, institute something like that, like, we need to know more about what we're talking about. And so I'm going to need you guys to be logging in, X hours because we've got a show to do. No, like, there are other shows, there are other content creators that do that. They put themselves through that, and that's fine. They want to be able to speak with authority, and they want to be able to help people to learn. But when it comes to forming opinions about the way that loot structure operates, that mechanics are executed, even without experiencing the mechanics firsthand, yeah, you can form an opinion about that.
Of course you can. Anyone can form an opinion about anything, but I'm going to say that the opinions as decent as they may be, will not ever be fully fleshed out until you've experienced yourself. Like, I can watch all the videos and clear videos or whatever and mechanic instructional videos that I want and say, man, that looks fucking stupid. But then until I do it and I'm like, hey, this actually isn't that bad. Like, your opinion's always going to be more well-rounded if you've experienced it yourself.
You're absolutely right. No, you're totally right in that aspect. But there is the other side of that where experience also has a way of like you end up putting blinders on things. You end up seeing things very narrowly. Okay, and I'm not trying to make an excuse of I don't do it because I can have a different perspective on it, but you can't come in and say, well, your opinion is invalid because you haven't done it, because you haven't been there, because you haven't had the experience. It doesn't invalidate the opinion, especially when I go and qualify most of the opinions that I give. In our discussion, Nika, you brought up how I said that the rating scene was fine, and that you were saying that it was in trouble, and that I maybe didn't have the authority to say that because I don't know what the rating scene is like. But the thing that you forget is that I was arguing that that the rating scene was looking far too narrowly at people who were only already active in the rating scene and not looking to bring in new talent, new people, invest in new people, invest in new talent. That was my point.
Right, but the thing is that that's very difficult too. Like, since we've been trying to reform our group, we've cycled through, I don't know, at least 5-6 different people, and some of them have been more experienced raters, some of them not. And as much as people are trying to improve, the way that the learning curve is in this game, that is, if you haven't rated at all and Midas Savage is your first experience in rating, you're going to lack severely behind the rest of the group. And it's almost, as much as I want to help that person so bad, is it fair for that person to keep that rest of the group from progressing here?
No, right, but it doesn't invalidate any of our opinions because we aren't actually there. Like, you can, this is a subject that you can abstract and look at in the abstract and still form very valid opinions about.
Right. But what I'm saying, though, is that if I have an opinion and you have an opinion, generally when people have a discussion or a debate and you present your opinions, you try to more or less convince the other person why your opinion is valid or correct. And while your opinion might even be correct, I'm more likely to give it more weight and more likely to listen and understand and believe you if you have discovered the raid scene's perspective because you actually experienced it yourself and have a story to present with that, rather
obviously.
than just
Sure, because
it was really hard for me to listen to your story in the first place, where I'm like, how would you even have a clue?
Sure, because Mr. Happy is always beyond criticism, right? Like, he's actually look at Mr. Happy. Mr. Happy is a dude who's been like boots on the ground guy doing it. He was like, working world first thing. He was working world progression until recently. And look at the no end of shit that this community dumps on that guy on a regular basis. You don't know what he's talking about. It doesn't fucking matter. Even if I was progression rating, even if I was meaningfully rating, it wouldn't really change my opinion, and it really wouldn't lend me any more weight or credibility. Because the guys who do speak out of credibility, they get the shit too. They get dumped on. They get the shitty YouTube comments. They get the shitty troll, Twitch trolling. They get the shitty stuff too. Which, by the way, all of you motherfuckers that do that, you guys are fucking cowards. The people who leave the backseat, the backseat gaming comments on YouTube, the people who sit around and make Twitch chats not very fun. You guys are fucking cowards.
Come forth, coward.
Nice.
Very good.
That was a nice job.
You really are. I mean, because our friends over at Aetherite Radio had a run in with a line of trolls on their show this past weekend, and they just came in and just shat up their chat for a while.
Oh, it was ugly.
And the thing is that that's easy. That's easy shit to do. That's super easy. You're not even fucking trying. It's really easy to come into a chat and write here's something that's kind of offensive. This is going to piss some people off. Nah. It's really, really easy to do that shit. It's really easy to buzz off a fucking YouTube comment. It actually takes time and effort. Tune in live. I mean, tune in live. Give us a call. We give you no shortage of chances to give us shit or to troll us or to try to get on this program, pull one over on us, make us look stupid. We give you tons of opportunities. None of you cowards take it. None of you cowards take the real shot.
Yeah, please call in.
You leave snipey little comments on YouTube. You leave shitty little comments in our chat, which we mostly think are hilarious.
I think Frosty Betrayer puts it best. I'm just a little line of text in a chat that vanishes in a few seconds.
Exactly. I mean,
a fart in the wind.
Well, let's go to our phone lines. We've now, I think this his name is Flick.
Yep.
Flick Tenshoto of Midgar Summer calling us in. Hey, what's up, Flick?
Hey, what's up, LBR? Good to talk to you guys finally.
Yeah, thanks for calling in. I understand that you're a first-time caller. We appreciate it.
Yes, definitely first-time caller. I want to take a very small time to say my apologies to Juxta. I actually ran into you and Alex 8, probably doing a normal run a couple weeks ago, and I said, man, please tell Kookie I'm going to call. I finally got a Sunday off, but we forgot it was Easter, and then I had to work the next week, and my heart was bleeding the whole time. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I remembered that. I remember you. And I was like, I wonder if you ever called in, because I don't think I told Kookie.
I really wanted to call him on that run because I play a Dragoon, and he was a ninja, I believe, at the time. And I lived that whole fight, and he died. But I wanted to call in to defend him. I was like, no. Somebody else screwed their mechanics up. He didn't die on his own. It wasn't his fault.
Wait, who is this? Who died?
Juxta.
It was Juxta?
Juxta did. Yeah.
Ninjas.
I was like,
That's
the
gay.
Dragoon lived the whole fight, but Juxta died. And I was like, well, no, I'm not going to do that. They screwed him over. They didn't do their mechanics right, and it caused him to die. So.
Yes, it's because...
What happened?
It's on Brute Justice, and he does the missiles up in the air and then come down with the targeted circles.
Yeah.
So I ran back behind him, and the person with the targeting circle stayed at his side, so I just died. Oh, no.
He just, all to himself.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Womp. Oh, man. Well, thanks for calling in, Flick. Did you want to share any other thoughts besides just some memories from Alexander?
Well, yeah, actually, I had a really good point about Party Finder I wanted to discuss. I thought I was going to have to take a severe left turn, but the fact that we're going to talk about learning and everything, I really wanted to take the time with the wonderful LBR podium to give a little lesson on using Party Finder as a way for learning.
There you go.
I think it is a highly underutilized tool that to this day is still not used properly. To give a broad example, when a new fight comes out, preferably specifically talking about like an extreme fight, one that you can't do in Duty Finder, there are times where you, as a person who do know the fight, want to clear it for whatever reason, you need to get it done out of the way, you go to Duty Finder, and it never fails. You wait, and you see that target ring, you see the party ring, like, somebody's new. And you ask, hey, who's new? Is somebody new? Are you clearing for alt? I'm new. Okay, cool. Do you know the fight at all? Seen the video? No. Do you have any idea what you're doing in this fight? Because it's Duty Finder, and we're probably going to want to clear it really quick. I don't know what I'm doing. Teach me. And I see that, and it kind of bugs me. Not on an elitist level, not on an impatient level. Just the fact that you have tools at your disposal to do this fight on your own outside of Duty Finder, and it's not used. Party Finder is such a great way to learn a fight. There are 4 tiers to a Party Finder list that you can use, or 3 if you really want to be quick, and it'll help you throughout every step of learning a fight. And again, maybe I'm specifically talking about extreme fights, but it plays to anything that you can learn. So you got 1 level, the very bottom level, learning party, and your verbiage can be any way you want it to. But hey, learning party. The idea for this is the people that are learning this fight possibly know nothing about this fight. They may have not seen a video, they may have not read a guide, they know nothing about this fight, but they want to learn the fight. Hopefully, veterans are encouraged to join and possibly teach the fight. But again, you are assuming that when you join this fight, you are teaching somebody from the ground up. This is not for farmers. This is not for people who want to clear. It's for the baby people who want to learn the fight.
Mm-hmm. It's a good point about setting expectation for yourself.
Absolutely.
No matter what level you're at, if you're just getting into the fight, or if you're the person who's already knows how to do it, set your expectations appropriately.
Right, because you can, I know the length of stuff that you can put in the actual phrase itself is limited, but you can make it work. The point is, when you as a veteran, elite, know the fight, want to clear it, are looking through a party finder, when you see learning party, you probably shouldn't join that unless you want to teach. You're not going to get your weapon out of that clear. So the second tier you have is progression, and I know other MMOs, they have a different way to use progression, but for the sake of Final Fantasy, for the sake of what we're talking about, just think progression in your mind. Hey, this fight in this party, these people know at least the first or second phase. They're not completely ignorant to the fight. They're not blind to it. They maybe have seen a video. Mm-hmm. They may have stepped in a little bit. They know a little bit about what they're doing, but they're trying to get more practice or progress through the actual fight. Again, veterans who know the fight, those who have cleared, want to join to teach, but this is not for farmers. This is not for clears. This is not for the people who know the fight and want to clear, because you're kind of gambling if you're going for a clear. Your target is for people who do know a little bit of the fight, the first or second phase or so, and they want to get further. Hey, I want to see the third phase. Hey, I want to see the last phase, etc. Third party is the clear party. This party is for the people who do know the fight, who have been progressively all the way down through the fight. This is for that small class of people I've been to 15%, I've been to 10%, I've seen the last phase, or I know we all love this one, I have been down to 3% for the past 3 weeks and I cannot get a clear. I know this fight like the back of my hand. I can do it in my sleep. Yep. I just need to get this thing cleared.
Right.
Again, veterans please join this because you've cleared it. Maybe you can tweak some things. Maybe you can help. Hey, this is a reason why maybe some of your people weren't clearing this one, because this mechanic y'all been doing wrong. But again, it's not for the farmers. It's for the clear people. It's for the people who do want to clear.
Right.
Not a learning party and not a progression, because you should not be teaching somebody in this party, hey, do you know what phase 1 is? This is not for you. This is for the people who know the fight and want the clear.
Yeah, you can make it very clear with your PF messages.
Right, and even then, you don't have to put every single bit of detail, because it's almost impossible, in your actual description. Your description should be short and something to catch people, to where any Joe Blow can pull it up while they're doing whatever and go, yeah, this party's for me. Then you get into the party or send them a tell and go, hey, what's this about?
Right.
What are we doing in here?
Right.
So the last one you have is a farm party. This, not equal sign, learning party. This, not equal sign, progression. People know this fight like the back of their hand. They know the fight.
They want the shit. Let's not fuck this up.
Want their gear. Yeah, precisely.
Yep.
There's no learning. No learning should be involved. Very minor tweaking if need be. And yeah, maybe it can seem like an elitist attitude, but hey, 1 or 2 wipes, and then guys, we need to back out of this group and talk about what we're doing. We should not be wiping consistently. If we have already got our pregame ahead of time, if we've done like civilized, actual cool people should be doing in the party chat before we even get into the fight. Hey guys, how are we doing phase 1? How are we doing phase 2? What healers are swapping this? Who's doing this? Who's doing that?
Right.
Now let's get into the fight. Execute. Farm. 15 clears out of there.
Yeah.
So,
yep. That's the big difference, I think, is you want several clears within the hour.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. And that structure is pretty simple. I think you hit all of the nails on the head. That's the same, when I'm looking for parties in Party Finder, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And judge your own skill level by what kind of party it is.
And that's the thing, people overestimate where they're at all the time. If you can't say the phases of the fight and tell yourself, okay, this is going to happen all the way to the end, you are not in clear mode yet.
Absolutely.
You are still learning.
Absolutely.
You know what, Ascalia? You don't even play right now, so you don't have any authority to speak on this subject.
Yeah. By the way, Flick 10 Shoto, thank you very much for the call. Did you have any shout-outs that you wanted to give?
I don't know if anybody's ever done this before, but I'd definitely like to give a shout out to my own little raid group. We're a small, semi-casual, go as we please raid group. We're only on A3 Savage right now, but we're making progress on our own due time. And
nice.
Just want to give a shout out to the guys. Keep head up. Keep rocking, guys. We're gonna make it through. It's good stuff.
That's what's up. Thank you, Flick, for the call. If you want to call Limit Break Radio, we definitely want to hear from you. Limit Break Radio on Skype 810-515-8715 or limitbreakradio.com. limit.break.com/Discord if you want to call in on Discord. We want to know, do we at Limit Break Radio have the authority to give opinions about rating, about progression rating, and the like? We want to hear from you. This is it's one of the most debated topics, either between the chat room or our YouTube comments, or in the feedback that we get. But a lot of people, it is a very common, a very common assertion, like, well, you don't do the raids, like, how can you talk about them?
Well, at the end of the day, as far back as I can remember, I don't think we've ever claimed to be anything other than 5 assholes with microphones. Yeah. And when we do talk about stuff that maybe we don't have the most experience with, we have Joe Never on for PvP, or Ethis on for lore, or Sonomaa on helping us with endgame progression right now.
Or even when we're not actually here, making a show, we are constantly communicating with these people. We're reading the forums. We're forming our opinions based on other people's experiences as well. It's not literally just an ear going, you know what, I'm going to disagree with Nika today because fuck her.
Well, he does say that, but
I mean, yeah, no, that's part of it, but that's not solely part of it.
Right.
Greatest conversation ever. Right, but you can't disagree that if it's formed based on other people's experiences and your own experiences, that people
would obviously be. It would be no. People can still take them seriously. Maybe not as seriously as they take you, and it wouldn't be as well informed as yours. But there is still concrete relevance that's there.
Validity.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, and I didn't want this to turn into some I didn't want this to turn into us defending the show or defending the way that we play or anything like that. But I do think that this is a topic that comes up a lot, especially when we start talking about rating, especially when we start challenging the status quo and saying that there's something wrong with rating. The first thing that people automatically jump to is like, well, you don't do it. Well, that doesn't invalidate my opinion about loot structure being fucked with the current raids. It doesn't at all. And I spent, fucking 15 minutes outlining why that was a completely valid opinion. And yet, that's the first thing that people jump to. Or think that we get insecure about. Or think that we take offense to. Like they're gonna, I'm gonna one up.
We don't take offense to a lot of things.
I'm gonna one up, here, I just like this, like this comment that we got on YouTube from Sayabria that says, if Anira wants people to stop being nice, I guess he's not being told often enough what a casual shitter he is. But whenever people do, he retreats up his own asshole, yelling "fuck you" through his belly button.
That's good imagery, though.
That is remarkable.
No, it is. That's totally remarkable.
Was that from Dr. Seuss?
That's a good one, Juxta.
Thank you.
We get this kind of shit all the fucking time, and that's the first thing that people go to is they try to they think it's attacking your credibility, and that's the part that gets annoying to me. But I was interested in talking about this because it seemed like Nika seemed to echo a few of those sentiments last night in our LBR chat. So I just kind of wanted to see, if maybe it's not just some of these YouTube commenters or Twitch chatters that that echo this sentiment as well. But I mean, yeah, dude, we get that kind of shit all the fucking time, and you know what? First of all, it doesn't invalidate my opinion, and you're not going to get me to stop giving my opinion. So I don't know what I'm not really sure what you're trying to accomplish.
I love flaming lamers.
This show's been on the air for over 9 years. If you want to get under our skin, you're gonna have to get real creative.
Yeah. It's not like we don't.
When was the last time someone actually got under our skin? I don't know if it's ever actually happened.
No, we are the troll destroyers. We are impervious to trolls.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's I have a thing, and I've not showed it to you guys yet.
Please don't
put it back. Put it in your pants.
I've not.
Oh my God! Stop.
I've not had to whip this out on the show.
No.
before.
Aww.
I'll bet you have.
But I've got a pretty big tool.
Jeez. Okay.
For dealing with trolls. You know what it is?
Maybe you're off like finger blasting somebody.
What is it?
Ow.
That's a big hammer, isn't it?
Oh, the band hammer?
No.
Okay.
We have minions that if there's bullshit in the chat, they take care of.
The hammer is your penis.
How do you carry that around?
No, that is the troll hammering. That is what it's called. It is its name. The troll hammering has been displayed for you guys. I've not had to use the power of the troll hammering yet.
Why does it smell like you haven't showered?
I can't hear you over the sound of my giant throbbing erection.
Exactly.
That's our secret, Cap. We're always trolling.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines and talk to Shira Hartslot of Excalibur. Thanks for calling Limit Break Radio.
Hey, guys. Just wanted to bring up the whole third-party API thing and everything like that to SC, and to publicly issue SC a challenge on this. It's like, okay, seriously, if SC is given the excuse before, I believe, on, people's feelings would get hurt and everything like that if we released an actual API with an actual header file and an actual set of DLLs. I'm going to tell you right now, as a developer, in the languages they develop in, that's total fucking bullshit, and their devs don't give one shit fuck of a damn about hurting people's feelings.
Yeah, it's you know what, this is absolutely something that could be accomplished in like a couple of hours. Like, it's not
it wouldn't be a couple of hours to develop an API like this and to create a fully portable DLL would take about 3 software engineers, about 3 weeks to a month. Is about the development time.
You were way off, Annie.
I was specifically thinking of a parser, but that's
well, internal parser is one thing.
Yeah.
But we're talking about actually doing an actual physically exposed DLL.
Yeah, right.
And that takes
an API.
A little bit more development.
Well, an API. Yeah, it would absolutely take development. Although this is something that they've been talking about since the 2.0 relaunch. I mean that it's been over. It's been over 2 years since we've been hearing about an API, and so it seems inexcusable at this point that they haven't implemented it yet. Do you have an idea of what why they would be dragging their feet on this?
Simply put, there's management level decisions that get made in the process, and it's probably just been getting buried down to the bottom of the pile because they have a 3-month development cycle.
Lords of Verminion.
Yeah, exactly. Things like Lords of Verminion where they're thinking, hey, this would be cool. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, that didn't work. So give us what we as a community, and actually listen to us and give it to us. And hell, Square Enix, I issue a challenge on this. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong that it wouldn't take you about 3 engineers pulled aside, 3 weeks to a month to get things done, or to develop a parser, because if you've played frickin' The Feast, you already know they got the window made.
Mm-hmm.
They have that shit made already. They have a window for output.
To be honest, I would not be surprised if if most of the API development was done coinciding with the 2.0 redevelopment. It seems like something that you would want to develop hand in hand and not be an afterthought if you are having plans for API, which they did. I mean, even before we got our hands on 2.0, we knew that they had plans for one. So there's got to be one, or at least the bones of one.
The framework has to exist.
Yeah, the framework is probably in there somewhere. There's probably already progress been made on it.
Not necessarily.
It's speculation. You're right. It's total speculation at this point. But I'm going to guess. Total guesswork. I'm going to guess that there might already be some programming in place. But regardless, taking 2+ years to make it a reality, absolutely ridiculous. Thank you very much, Shira, for that call. We really appreciate it. Heartslot has been a fan of the show for a long time, so
I mean,
we do appreciate it.
What another thing that they have to realize too is, all right, fine, you put out the API, we stop clamoring for the API, but that would solve a bunch of other problems because a lot of the stuff that we as players want could then be developed by the players that then you wouldn't even have to worry about touching.
Absolutely. But that's, I think, their fear is that it becomes an unregulated market. In a way.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, at that point, then if something popped up that they thought was too game breaking, then you take a stance on it. That's fine. Put something in the code that then breaks that and be like, no, don't do that anymore.
Right. It feels like instead of leaving the community to their own devices to have to make third-party hook-ins, like ACT or Guildwork or whatever it is, leaving the community to their own devices is a much more dangerous proposition than just putting the API out there, which is controllable by Square Enix, and having a little bit more, little bit more of a measure of control there. So, again, thank you, Heartslot, for the perspective there. Again, we'd like to hear from you. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715. Does Limit Break Radio have any kind of authority to talk about rating, even though only one person on our crew is actually a progression raider? We definitely would love to hear from you. Limit Break Radio or 810-515-8715. LimitBreakRadio.com/Discord if you'd like to join us on Discord. I collected a handful of these YouTube comments that I for no reason I just want to read them.
I want to read the first one.
Okay, but if anyone reads these, you have to read it in a funny voice.
Oh, of course you do.
Okay, I'm saying this for number 6 and Nika over here. Okay.
Actually, Juxa, I think you should take Dog Person.
Dog Person?
Yeah, read Dog Person.
Okay.
Wow, I have never seen someone so passionate about hating on a game they don't even have to play with no facts to explain why it's so bad. Good job. You pretty much did even worse than the person who sent you that letter complaining about BNS. LOL.
I like how Dog Person's one of the underpants gnomes.
He wants to be the Dog Person.
I want to take this one from Dirk McGurk.
That's an awesome name.
These names are great.
Yeah, Dirk McGurk, Chicago, Illinois.
The host of this show is the only one that can't spit out his thoughts. Every thought, Stutterfest is beyond annoying.
Hey, he stole my joke from the roast.
I know.
And Gaushiki. And Nero screaming over Nika. Says he's muting her for screaming over people. Top cat.
Hey, he's got a point with that one. Gonna throw that one out there.
And then Nika talks over me. Thanks.
I did mute her.
Good.
Yeah, I did.
Also, he's full of shit. Getting 8 people to actually follow up a voiced commitment is goddamn hard to accomplish. But it's not high standards to expect people to stick to their goddamn word, and anyone who thinks otherwise is a callow idiot.
They called you
a callow idiot.
That post I don't think should have been read in a funny voice because that is a legit point.
I think that might have been Nika.
That wasn't me.
Yeah,
but
no,
he has a point.
No,
it's an anime name. It is Nika.
It's totally Nika.
Gaushiki.
I don't know. I wonder.
Bullshit.
I wonder. I like Eric Garcia here. The guys in this video are asshats and they're annoying.
That's there as in a place.
Yes.
Not there.
Over there annoying.
Yes.
There's something to be said for simplicity, though.
Yeah. Thanks for that one, Eric Garcia.
I love your ice cream.
Can we have number 6 read one so we can see how much he fails at it?
Yeah, okay.
That guy is so ignorant.
We already used that voice.
I only have so many voice. What do you want, German?
You have the German idiot voice, too, though.
Okay. That guy is so ignorant, asshole, and just stupid. People play what they want, you salty motherfucker.
Props. I'm actually gonna give you props, Astalia. Good job.
I like that one.
You need to listen to our FF11 voice acting nights because his voices are pretty legit.
Yeah, but that involves FF11, so no. Nika, you want to take this next one? It sounds like a girl.
No, because I'll tell you what. Somebody special wants to read this next one.
Oh?
Oh, yes.
Who?
It's Garbo! Garbo, come in and read. Yes, it's Garbo. This guy is S. Not listening to this radio show if this guy is going to be S.
That was amazing.
Good job, Garbo.
Well, thanks. Bye, Garbo.
It's funny how he just breaks in here.
I know, right? It's
Garbo.
I know, it's right. That one. That one was from Taylor Sipcar.
Oh,
that's a Pokemon.
Hold on, you did actually make a mistake. This next one, the next two down by John H. You put this is actually a compliment in here. I can tell by how you troll and shun your listeners that you're cool and you're good at Final Fantasy 14. Well, thank you, John H.
Thanks, John. We appreciate it. We know that we're good at FF14. That's why we do the show.
It was rhetorical.
We need Nika to read one.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Guys, that one's too long to read in a funny voice. Come
on.
I don't have that many funny voices.
There's literally
You're a teacher.
There's literally one left. We've read all of the other ones.
Oh, yeah, the last one's been read already.
There's really only one left.
Well, we missed one from Paul Bogadin.
I read that one.
Yeah, he read it. That was, we were laughing too hard at his silly voice.
Yeah, okay.
Come on, Nika.
Wait, hang on. Isn't there 3 left?
No.
Mr. Darkin LTU.
That's the last one.
That's it.
Yep.
Okay. It says... God, I don't want to read this one.
Wow, you suck and swallow too. No one is asking to play BNS just because you suck at it. That doesn't mean we should stop playing it too. That's the first video I saw, but it's just junk. The whole channel is toxic. FF14 is more shit than the fucking BNS tutorial map, and that garbage of yours just isn't worth the internet. Thank you. Goodbye.
Why is whole channel in caps?
The whole. No, you're right.
Channel.
Yeah,
it's all in
whole
caps.
channel. That's
Yeah, it is. And so it's toxic.
That's a proper. That's a proper now. We're yes.
Whole channel is our new.
That's our new name.
Yeah.
Whole channel.
Welcome to the Whole Channel is Toxic
yes.
network.
Whole channel is toxic. That's the name of our new show. Whole channel is toxic. So yeah, you know what? Here's the thing. I just have one thing to say to each one of you guys that each one of these YouTube comments that we read off today.
I miss you so much it hurts sometimes.
We allow you to call the show. We allow you to openly voice your opinion, openly voice your dissent, openly voice your
legs.
Whatever.
Wait, what? What?
Openly voice your opinions on whatever we talk about, and if you don't take that opportunity, I get it. There are some people who can't tune in live. They don't get the opportunity. They leave YouTube comments. But I'm pretty sure that more than a few of these motherfuckers do listen live every time we go live.
They want to call in, but they're afraid you're going to talk over them.
Oh well. Isn't that?
And then mute them because you don't like what they're saying.
I value all cultures equally highly.
That's right.
We might play drops over them too.
That's right. I value their perspective. I value their dissent. And
this is the reason he talks over people when you call in and disagree with him. Because if you remember, he gave Dark Star, as much as I hate saying that name, plenty of time to voice his opinion.
Ample.
The problem with him was he just talked in circles and said the same thing over and over again. There wasn't any substance. If you actually have a conflicting opinion and you want to call in and tell us, Anira will absolutely give you time to fully voice your statement. Just make sure you know what the fuck you're going to say.
Absolutely.
Be intelligent.
Absolutely. Let's go back to our phone lines. Joining us on our Discord line, we've got Talanov of Sergeant Tannis. Hey, what's going on, Talanov?
Hi guys.
Thanks for calling Limit Break Radio. We appreciate it.
From a cave.
No problem. Somebody had to be a dissenter, right? The reason that I contest that you guys have the qualifications maybe outside of Anika about discussing the rating qualifications is because of the amount of time and effort that you have to put into rating that you guys gloss over and then just go straight into, well, we go and almost like regurgitation of the information that you find in other areas. I mean, if you don't have a full-go guild like you have with the situation that Elysium has, where they have crafters, they have gatherers, they have people producing all the materials that they need, you look at a heck of a lot of time and energy invested in gathering materials or creating your own materials, doing melds day one to make sure that you have all that stuff. I mean, it takes a heck of a lot of time and energy to go into it, and then you have people that go on that are public figures that you like respect and you guys listen to often, and then they're talking about how hard A3 Savage is, and then none of them even got past A1 Savage, and you're like, you can't even get past the first part, and you're going to tell us that how this stuff is not like eligible content or anything like that. Or then you talk about how something's so easy and you guys don't even do it for the first week.
Sure, but you know, by extension of that logic, that means that Nika's not allowed to have an opinion about the difficulty or the mechanics of A8, even if she's stuck on A5. There is a wider discussion that happens when we get exposed to these progression groups and when we get exposed to their content and the way that they do these fights. Because we as viewers and we as community members do get to form an opinion about those mechanics. So even though we're not there yet, we haven't progressed to that point, I would still take Nika's opinion as valid about, you know, A7 or A8 or whatever, even if she's stuck on A5.
I wouldn't really talk about A8 though if I'm not on A8 yet. I've kind of made that on purpose as I've been rating throughout the length of this show. Yeah, like I mean, when I was complaining about A3, I was on A3. Like, there's not really like I don't even know the mechanics of A8 yet. So I wouldn't talk about them, and I've kind of made it a point to not do that too much as I can help it. But you know, because I'm actually rating myself.
I wish you would make that a point on other subjects we talk about.
But you know, I mean, I think you know as well as any of the rest of us that there are times when there are subjects that need to be talked about. I mean, you know, there are exploits that end up coming up, or you know, there are you know, there's any number of issues that come up where, you know, we have to talk beyond our experience, right? That happened a lot to this show when we did it in FF11. And because we wanted to try to be didactic and we wanted to try to teach people back in those days, we really did feel like there was a lot of pressure on us to at least somewhat kind of experience some of these things and to be able to talk from a place of, you know, of firsthand experience. But I don't think that is necessarily the same in FF14, because we're talking about a structurally much different game. You can talk about mechanics in the abstract because many mechanics are repeated from other fights. It's not like you have to experience that mechanic to know, oh, we got to trade a brand mark. You know, like that's something that
but until you've experienced it, you can't say how difficult it is or is not to do. You can do it or allowed to think that it's stupid.
When you're measuring it against groups that are doing progression rating, and when you are looking at the feedback that the progression raters are giving and using that as your basis for the opinion, yes, I do think you can. I think it is valid.
That's a fair point. But
this is what I think. This is what it really comes down to.
No, hang on. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Talanoff.
I mean, that's a fair point, but under the contention, when you say that, you're not bringing on veteran raiders and having them contest that point and then agreeing with them. You're stating it as your own opinion and then getting frustrated when veteran raiders who aren't saying ridiculously sadistic YouTube comments but are replying, and then they're just trying to give their opinion that you might be incorrect or they like the content as difficult as it is. But you're not acknowledging those points, you're acknowledging the extremes on either side. And the reason people don't give Nika flack is because she's trying the content. I mean, most of the time the content or the comments that you're getting are because of the fact that 3 of you don't raid and they're making contentions, but almost all those comments say, but at least Nika's trying. That's why she doesn't get that flag.
Well, here's one of the other things it comes down to as well, is a lot of people here are saying, you know, well, your opinions are wrong because of this. Our opinions are right because of this. It does come down to opinions. I mean, they're not really right or wrong. However, they do have different amounts of credibility. You're extremely right on that. People seem to be under the assumption that if you don't have actual experience, you can't comment on it, period. That's not true.
Exactly.
When we make comments, when we form opinions, when we put them out there, absolutely people are going to disagree with us. Absolutely people are going to be calling us idiots. People are going to say, you guys don't have the right to do that. Why should we believe you? Blah, 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 blah. We understand that our credibility isn't as high as what Nika's is, isn't as high as what Elysium's is. We get that, and we accept that, but that doesn't make them any more invalid. Also, if you choose to be like, nah, you know what, Aniro? I don't think you have enough credibility, so I'm calling bullshit. By all means,
and that's fine.
Bullshit.
And to your point that we don't bring people on to you know give the other side. We leave lines open, And anyone can call the show at any time if they disagree with anything. And the best, most immediate way to tell us that you disagree with something is by calling. There are very, very few opportunities on the show where we wrap up the show and there's like a ton of people that we didn't get to that wanted to call in. That doesn't happen very often. So I do appreciate you calling in and dissenting, Talanoff, and giving your perspective on that. But I mean, I think, just based on it, and it also kind of depends on what we're talking about too. If I was sitting down and was trying to explain mechanics, I would be trying to explain something that I had no context for. But we did
a lot in LBR 1.0.
Exactly, and it made you feel really uncomfortable when you did it too. Like as a host, it was like, I don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm way more sure-footed now in this program because the opinions that I've developed are my own. I don't a lot of times go very far out of my way to try to figure out what the overwhelming opinion is, or what the what's the word that I'm looking, the phrase that I'm looking for, the overarching wisdom is of the community. I rarely do that, and I let myself experience things. And the thing is, though, is I think if we were sitting here pretending that we were raiders, or saying that, we have credibility, like if we were trying to defend our credibility, I think that would be a totally different story.
Yeah.
We're
you
not
all have
right.
Total
but
solid
with
ground.
all due respect, under the same circumstances in the show, I think it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago, you're discussing how the relic being as good or quality or not is going to affect the rating scene when you probably haven't even cleared content. So you're discussing a topic that's clearly on the minds of raiders of leading edge content about like invalidation of content and stuff like that.
Sure.
When you guys aren't even on that edge, and then it's like, well, okay, you're going to tell me that like all the work I put into my relic and finally being worthless, or under the circumstances of being good, when you guys aren't even like encompassing that content. It's like me trying to tell you guys that you're not doing a good job at being radio when you've been doing radio clearly for a very large part of your life, and you know what you're discussing. And I mean, I listen to you guys for the purpose of entertainment, so I take your opinions as entertainment.
Right. That's what I mean. Call us in and tell us that we're wrong. We're not trying to sit up here and tell you that what we say is rule of law. We're here to give our opinions. We're paid for our opinions. We have to give them, or we're not doing our job.
Right.
But if our opinions are wrong, call us up and tell us why.
Yeah.
We're fine with that. We're not.
It's that I really want to encourage is that I'd like to see more people that if we're talking about something that is outside of our context and we're getting something wrong, then we would love for you to tell us. But here's the thing: in the example that you gave when we were talking about relics and how the current 3.25 step affects the rating scene and the motivation behind the weapons, I mean. Was there anything in there that was like hugely off base, or because I mean if there was something in there that made me look like an idiot,
please let us know so we can make fun of them.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Under the circumstances, everything that you guys preach about is how the 1.0 relic the 2.0 relic was, and how this relic is completely different. The entire game's different. I couldn't play 2.0 from the basis. I started playing in 2.5 because WoW made me want to freaking scream. And under the circumstances, I've only been playing for I think maybe 2.5, 2.55, somewhere in there up until this point. And like from my perspective, it's, hey, maybe we understand that this thing that we're having people invest hundreds upon hundreds of hours, that's an unrealistic number, but I like being over the dramatic, into getting this ridiculous relic weapon, and then it's going to be a ridiculous glamour item, but why don't we just sneak it in here where now it can be useful to encourage people to do that content? I mean, because like nothing's the same. Savage isn't the same. Dungeons aren't the same. I mean, except for like 2.5 is very similar to a Tombstone situation that we have now. The game's completely different, and you guys are over here saying, well, it's not the same, and we should be 3 times as hard to grind. Maybe they wanted to make it easier to encourage people to do it and say, hey, we want these weapons to be a good alternative, not something that takes you 17 billion hours per step for you to be able to get to a point where it actually might have a use at the end of an expansion.
Yeah, but me not rating has nothing to do with any of those opinions. Those are opinions about the amount of time and investment that a relic that a relic takes to get, and the activities that you have to do to be able to get to the other side of it. It has nothing to do with rating. In fact, you know what I mean? Like that opinion, I mean, you may disagree with it, and that's fine. You're more than welcome to disagree with it. But that opinion is, not one that's informed at all by my participation or not in rating. So, I get where you're coming from. And I do absolutely agree that credibility is a big thing there. And does my credibility take a hit every time I talk about something outside of my context that I have an opinion on that I am wrong about? Absolutely. That is the chance that I take by being someone who broadcasts their opinions publicly and does so in front of an audience and allows you guys to submit feedback. Like, that's just an inherent risk of doing this show. Okay. And I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with being wrong. I'm okay with admitting where I'm at in this game, not trying to, pump myself up like, oh yeah, I definitely know what the fuck. There's a lot of times I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, and that's fine. But I think generally, if I give an opinion, that I try to back it up with as many anecdotal or facts, anecdotal opinions or facts as I can. And I don't know. I don't feel that bad about it, nor do I really feel like pushed into needing to get into rating to be able to speak on it like some authority here. If none of us rated, I think that we could still have very valid opinions about rating. And the first thing that people do when they just simply disagree with you is just discredit you.
Absolutely.
That's it. They go, oh, well, you don't know. Well, okay.
I think you're defending the wrong point here. Nobody's saying that your opinions are invalid. What they're saying is they're just not going to take you seriously. That's really it. Like, everyone is allowed to have an opinion. Everyone is allowed to voice their opinion. Yes, that doesn't mean your opinion is not valid. It just means we're going to take it as a grain of salt.
Then you're taking the wrong show seriously. I mean, from the beginning. You've been taking the wrong show seriously.
It's always possible, though, that if you have an opinion and your opinion is, just really out of left field simply because you want to, have an opinion and can contribute to a discussion, and it's completely wrong, it is possible then that, people listen to us and they believe what we say. You don't want to tell people something that's totally wrong just because you wanted to have an opinion on something you knew nothing about. So you have to be very careful about how you form those opinions, but you are allowed to form them, just...
That's your opinion. I'm going to say things that are wrong.
I formed them in a drunken stupor filled with cocaine and LSD. Is there something wrong with that?
Well, but for different reasons.
Anyway, we appreciate the calls and all of your messages, all of you chiming in on this subject. We may take one more call before we got to bug out of here, but we are running very, very low on time. Let us check in with what has been going on in the FFFL.
Dun, dun. Hello, FFFL fans. Week 9 is in the books, and finally the moment of truth is upon us. The final week before the playoffs has arrived, and there's really only 2 stories to tell. If you're the Callow Klux Klan, you can sit back and watch the mayhem. If you're
the champions.
If you're anyone else...
You douchebag.
Pretty much. If you're anyone else, it comes down to this. Win, and you're in. While the Callow Klux Klan sits comfortably at 7-2, every other team in the league is currently 4-5.
Wow.
After complaining last week of all the ties.
Yep.
My goodness.
With 4 teams set to make the playoffs, a win will guarantee you a spot. Last week's matchup saw the Morty and Jailbirds taking Bondage and Servitude to Pound Town. They stormed back after a heartbreaking loss in Week 8, while Bondage and Servitude continues to struggle.
Phrasing.
Pretty much. The Callow Klux Klan continued to dominate all competition, taking down the Besaid Butt Plugs, and have now locked up not only a playoff spot, but first seed overall in the playoffs and best regular season record. Finally, Titans Banana Hammocks have pulled out an upset over Henger's Crucible to keep their playoff hopes alive, while the rest of the league is playing an elimination game this week for the first time. The Banana Hammocks are no strangers to that pressure, as they've been doing so since Week 8.
How are you still in this, Papa?
Because he keeps winning.
Yeah, what the hell?
He was on the brink of elimination going into Week 8 and has not lost since.
It's bizarre.
Yep.
I'm not telling.
On the waiver wire this week, we have Duncan, Steiner, Tara, Sin, Xdeath, Realm, Mog, Lena, Joseph, and Setzer. The waiver order, and by the way, guys, this week and next week will be the last week you can make a lineup. Once the playoffs start, you will not be able to alter your lineup.
Oh, okay.
So this week and next week will be the last 2 times you can do that. So the waiver order starts with a Nero. Anything want to interest you?
Yeah, I'm kind of like an Xdeath.
Xdeath?
I was gonna say that's a good one, man.
Who are you looking to drop for Xdeath?
You know what? I feel like Seymour has been kind of dragging me down lately.
Yeah.
You've had Seymour on your team? Yeah, that's a good choice.
Ever since I picked up Seymour, I feel like we haven't been doing as well.
It was about
he's a total clown, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna punt. What's his name? Seymour. Thank you. And I'm gonna get Xdeath.
All right, make it so. Nico, would you like to make any changes?
I don't want to pick anyone up, but I want to take Thancred off my bench and like put him in my main lineup.
Sure. Who are you benching?
I can't remember everyone who's on my. Who was my other melee spot?
We don't know.
This is your job to know
I'm
this.
trying to remember. I don't remember.
You have you have Prish and you have you have Vincent.
My healer.
You have
Vincent's my range.
Jekt.
Jack is my coach.
Orange or melee?
Orin. Okay. Oh gosh, he's so good though.
Yeah, he's been doing so good.
Yeah, you guys have
All right,
lost
let's just try. Let's switch Orin and Thancred.
All right,
Orin on my bench and Thancred in my main lineup.
All right, that will not take a spot off your waiver order, so you will have first pick next week. Callow, would you like to make any changes?
Are you kidding, man? We're fucking dominating. This is the damn dream team.
You guys can literally just fall asleep this week if you want.
Oh, no. Because you have us matched up against Nika. You think I want her in the playoffs?
That's true. 8-2 is the dream.
I am ending the Crucible.
Oh, my goodness. All right. So no changes being made to Callow's lineup. Papa Woody? Nope. Oh,
okay.
Man. Well, yeah. Why would you change anything?
Yeah, no, he's
you
been
just
doing
keep
okay.
on winning.
Yeah.
I am not going to make any changes either. So that leaves Juxta.
Do you know who's on my bench right now? I have no fucking clue.
You're the commissioner.
It's Lightning, I believe.
Is it Lightning?
I think it's Lightning. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna bench the tank and put Lightning as the tank.
Who do you have as your tank right now?
The tank, Genova.
Oh,
literally.
She's in the tank. Yeah.
That picture was such a pain in the ass to work with, by the way. Thank you so much for that.
You know, I was considering adding Sin to my team, just so you'd have to just have him take up the entire background.
Oh my god.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Except he's not a girl, so
right. Yeah.
We're gonna go switch Lightning with the tank. So.
All right, Lightning is in.
And we're gonna trade out Genova, and we're bringing Tara back in as on the bench.
Okay, so you're re-signing Tara a week after dropping her.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're sorry, Tara. Come back to us.
All right, so Tara's your new bench player, and Lightning's your new tank.
Yes.
Got it. Alrighty. The matchups this week, guys, for week 10 will be the Besaid Butt Plugs versus Bondage and Servitude.
Oh, Jux, I'm sorry, I don't like your odds.
Hanger's Crucible will throw down with the Callow Klux Clan.
Oh god.
And all the way from Garlemald, we will have Titans Banana Hammocks facing off with the Morty and Jailbirds.
Oh, only one of the losers are going to make it in.
Only one of us will make the playoffs.
You're so going down, Nick. I hope you're afraid.
And guys, that is what's going on in the FFFL.
Thank you, Escalia, for the update on the FFFL. Let's take our final caller of the night. We're going to take a call from Ezreal Night Rage. What's going on, Ezreal?
Hey, what's up? This is Ezreal Night Rage of Curia Regis of Midgard-Stormer, which is no Gilgamesh, which has Elysium. I just wanted to call in about.
Are you working in an office?
I bet he's raiding as he's called in.
Yeah,
I mean, we don't take breaks from raid. That's 24/7.
the multitasking is intense.
Yeah, that was just a hunt, actually. Pretty casual content. But I missed the first half of the show. So, as far as having rating opinions, I'm not even sure what rating opinions you guys have. I want to call you guys shit and you're not allowed to have opinions, but what are the opinions that you have on rating so I can tell you why you're wrong?
Well, do we want to TLDR our last 2 years of content?
I mean, really quick, we could just go around the room really quick and kind of just spout off a few things and he can just say yay or nay.
How loot is wrong, loot is bad, and to me, especially with how they added books into Alexander, I mean, I think it's
I have no problems with loot right now.
Well,
but I heard you say that.
Because I think that the main thing that we are complaining about loot is because I think the whole token sort of system is good because
it's not bad.
It doesn't make you grinding for fucking drops that nobody needs.
That's right.
But I think our biggest complaint with the loot system is that if there was a better incentive than just the loot that they're giving right now, which is only 10 item levels above what you can get doing stuff casually, if it was higher than that, if the loot was a little bit better, it might incentivize other people who don't have an interest in raiding to start raiding.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I think the biggest crux of our complaints and the majority of our opinions about the raiding scene at the moment is that Square Enix really isn't doing enough systemically in terms of loot to make it worthwhile, to make it not worthwhile is not even the right term, but to make it
make the pill easier
attractive,
to swallow?
make it really attractive for those who aren't raiding to start raiding. There's a there's a minimal gear advantage that you get out of raiding currently that is outmoded within 2 patches, and that I think is the biggest problem. The fact that there's not a progression path to get beyond where we are in our current eye level spectrum and move beyond it to where the patch is going to be, to have long-term gear that people meaningfully care about. I think that's the biggest complaint that we have about raiding. I don't think that I've ever sat around and complained about difficulty, although I was very vocally opposed to the idea of story mode because it did exactly what the fuck I said it was going to do. It was going to murder the incentive for people who were not necessarily going for best in slot, but we're going for the narrative purpose of it.
We're also against circle and square rooms.
Yeah, the same fucking encounter repeated over and over and over again with a big bad in a room.
Midas did a very good job of changing it up a little bit. We especially liked Midas 3 with the balls in the pussy.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean,
also give us triangle rooms.
They're mostly very general opinions that I think it's pretty hard to take issue with a lot of those. It's just the people who don't like us either as people or as presenters or don't like our jokes or whatever will sit around and try to discredit us the moment that we say something that might be misguided,
I think
factually inaccurate.
They also just want to shit post us. I mean,
that's true.
This whole time Dyson fans been throwing some shade, but then every once in a while he'll be like, "All right, but in all seriousness, guys, you're kind of cool."
No, Dyson, he's fun. He's fun. I dig it.
Ezreal, as a raider, I don't know, are any of those points that we just brought up, are any of those particularly unfair?
No, I mean, those are very general points, and if that's the only opinions you have, I think you're in your lane squarely. But I mean, as this is a PvE game, the PvP sucks. I don't care what anyone says.
It's getting better, though.
It's sort of, but the speed hacking, I'm sure you'll do a whole show on that. Fucking faggots with that. But the whole point of this game for me is progression rating. The patch day, we spent all day trying to clear Sephiroth X. There were no guides. I can't tell you how hard it was to figure out, should the purple and green stack? Do all the greens have to be in the purple but not touching the purple guy? When really it was just everyone stay the fuck away from each other. We couldn't figure out what the colors meant. But being able to do this content, because you have the best gear from the last patch, ahead of everyone without relying on videos and guides and echo nerfs and all that crap. I mean, that's why I play this game. That's the only reason. I haven't been to the Gold Saucer since it opened, and aside from that, I can't see why anyone else would play this game.
We did Void Arc blind the first day it came out. We know exactly what you mean. There, now you have something to bitch about, haters.
I totally do understand what you mean, and I do also understand that there are players out there who operate at that level, that they just operate at this much elevated skill level from where we are, and I don't know if it's dedication as a player or if it. I'm not sitting around trying to make excuses for myself. I don't raid, and there's a couple of factors that go into that decision for me, but I don't think that prevents me from giving my opinion on any portion of this game. It just doesn't. So.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you guys say these opinions, but when I see other people say these things, Elysium cleared week 4, the raids are too easy, or it's taking too long for people to clear, and I look them up and they haven't even been in coil or whatever.
Totally agree.
How hard it is, how easy it is. People cheese this, all that, and that's a whole another point too. I hate it when I see Elysium in this case. They're the first group to clear, and then they lambast anyone who dares to clear it a different way from them. That shit just pisses me off as well on the other side of that coin.
I was not tuned into that. I would be interested to hear a little bit more about that, but we've got to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for the call, Ezreal, Night Rage. We definitely appreciate it. First time caller here to Limit Break Radio as well. We actually, this is kind of shocking because we are almost about to run overtime here. We've got
how shocking.
We've got 7 calls on hold. I'd love to be able to get to you guys, but unfortunately, there is something that I really, really need to talk about in the last 10 minutes of the show. So I want to talk about the community. We've talked about rating and we've talked about, the community as a whole, but I want to talk about the generosity of the Final Fantasy XIV community. Last week I explained that a couple of components in my computer system went down. My motherboard died. And it left me without a computer or a way to really, to effectively do the show. The show is run through an enormous amount of gear, and all of it works in conjunction with each other to be able to produce the show that you guys get. And the computer that I'm on, the computer that hosts this stream, the computer that, takes the game and the audio that we're producing and streams it out to you. I mean, that's sort of the heart of the whole thing. And, when it went down, I'm going to be honest with you guys, and I'm not saying this to try to get any sympathy. This is a character flaw of mine that I don't like about myself. I sort of just kind of lost it. Like, I didn't lose my shit and start screaming, crying. For 3 days, I was a useless pile of shit, an absolute useless pile of shit as a person.
It was a peaceful 3 days,
and because it got to the point after we did that show. I was continuing to install updates and trying to get the computer back to the point where we could have a stream that looks like this today. Okay. And something happened. I don't know what happened, but the computer turned off, would not turn back on again. And at that point, that was the point where I had just lost it. And I said, it shook my foundation. It shook my confidence in my ability to engineer through problems. And it fucked me up. If you were on Twitter, if you saw any of my messages on Twitter, or if you noticed my absence in this last week, it's because I've just been a complete, total worthless pile of shit. And it's a terrible, terrible personality trait. And it's something that I wish I could, erase about myself. And what I did was I took the computer and I took it to Micro Center and I said, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm at this is past the point for me to troubleshoot. You need to look at it, please. Another pair of eyes needs to help me with this. I had come to a point where I couldn't take it. And so for 3 days it sat over there and I waited. Somebody looked at it and there was relatively not much wrong with it. I was able to get it back and it was fine. But in that time, I had said last week I was going to, do some work streaming and trying to raise some money to offset the cost of the parts, because I feel bad asking the other four people who do the show with me to use more Patreon money to fix my computer that I had just fixed 6 months ago. And so I was like, I'm going to do the work. I'm going to do the work streaming, and I'm going to appeal the case, and I'm going to set in and do the work. And when the computer blew up and I melted down, Kahlo, very like a pro, very valiantly stepped in and did 6 solid days worth of streaming.
5. Today's the 6th day.
It's fine. We'll still call it 6. It's fine. Raised $605, which is actually way more than we needed to be able to solve the problem, and that's fantastic. But I'm still going to make good on that whole thing, and I'm still going to be streaming, and I'm still going to ask for donations, because it's not just me. It's not just the studio that has had technology hiccups. Ascalia, what blew in your computer?
My power supply.
Your power supply.
Power supply is it's not dead, but the second any like extra stuff has to crank on, like if it has to go to like all of its cores processing wise, it turns off or freezes.
And didn't you say that messed up your SSD too?
Yep, solid state drive is fucked. Right after having gotten it all fixed and done, so I got to reinstall Windows once I get it working again.
Damn.
Yeah, it's not whatever's wrong with the power supply. It's not putting out enough power anymore. So as soon as extra stuff starts having to turn on in the computer, it shuts down.
So here's the deal, guys. I mean, I'm still going to be fundraising, and the cost of my repairs is covered, and we're gonna help out Ascalia. And then we're gonna help out Papa Woody, because Woody, you had your Mobo and
Come here, Woody. Use my mic.
Yeah, you had your Mobo, and what else?
Mobo is shot.
Yeah.
No idea what the problem is, and the SSD that I had my Windows on is gone.
Yeah, it was a tough 2 weeks for a lot of us.
Here's some more for that pun.
Oh, look at that.
Next time, don't get a 1 on your tech roll and a doinip.
Thank you, Ryoko.
Are gonna go ahead and knock on wood because our PCs are fine.
I know.
Yeah.
Please.
I am so happy and thankful I don't have a pacemaker or that I'm not flying anywhere imminently, because if I have to rely on technology, I'm fucked.
Okay, so but here's the thing. All right, so we appealed to you guys to ask us, and you guys are already so generous. You guys give on Patreon, very generously.
We actually had that $600 in before we were even halfway through the 6 days of LBR.
And the thing is that we very easily could have used Patreon money to cover this, and we did. It's we actually have cost earmarked for things. Like we're prepping to get mobile equipment for FanFest.
Yep.
We're prepping to go down to Alamo City Comic-Con, and so we have goals that we try to meet, projections and goals that we try to meet.
We budget.
And we do. We are very very meticulous with our money, because this is a business to us. We're trying to make this a business, and first of all, I just want to say thank you guys for all your generosity. It was amazing to know that while I was being a useless, depressed piece of shit, that you guys were stepping up and killing it. You guys solved my fucking problem for me. And I mean, again, I'm not saying that I was depressive to get any kind of sympathy or anything. It's a deep flaw of mine. It's not something that I'm proud of. While I fell apart, you guys came together. You fixed the fucking problem, and here we are today doing the show because you guys help us out. All right, but this is just a.
Here's a last-minute donation.
Oh.
Better late than never.
Ruggle, thank you. That's so kind of you. Here's the thing, guys. All right, here's the thing. For as generous as you guys have been with us, with Limit Break Radio, you guys have been just as generous in other places as well, with other streamers. And specifically, I want to talk about a guy named Mithrie. Mithrie, I don't know the exact.
Keep the LBR running. Love you guys.
Thank you, Master. Thank you very much for that donation. I want to talk about Mithrie here for a second, because he ran into a situation where he was going to be kicked out of his parents' house. He was losing his living situation, and during that time, he appealed to his audience and the FF14 community for some financial help. And within very short order, he was able to solve his situation. And it was through your incredible generosity that situation was able to resolve itself. Mithrie was in, as he says, he was in a place that was abusive and not conducive to his health. and was given an ultimatum to vacate within 5 days. And he was put in a situation where I think if any one of us were put in that situation, that
it's not enough time to move out of someplace when you have nowhere to go.
It's nuts. Like I mean, just thinking about it kind of sends me into a miniature panic attack. I couldn't even imagine being in his shoes at that point. And what Mithrie did is he opened himself up on his channel, and he opened himself up on on his stream, and he asked for help, and he received the help. And then he did a thing that I thought was mind-blowingly generous, and is still I have trouble really kind of understanding. But he came into a situation where he didn't need the money that was given to him. He didn't need the money that was donated to him, and said that he was going to return all of the donation.
Well, I think that the wording, because when I read it, what I got from it was that he needed the money.
When Escalia gets his computer back together, name the OS partition mod API. Because, say, he will almost never have to touch it again.
Having to move out in 5 days, unless you have a good lump sum of money, that can fuck you for the rest of the month. That can put you in a really bad position. So he needed that money immediately, and he said that he does have a good paying job, right?
Yeah.
So now that he's gotten the money from his viewers, he was able to get out of that situation.
Right.
He wants to give that money back.
He wants to give that money back.
So he wasn't looking to have money donated to him. He was looking to have it borrowed because the bank wouldn't give him a loan. So
Right.
I don't see this as oh guys, turns out I don't need the money. He needed the money.
Yeah.
But he wants to give it back because
the situation that he was in, he did need the money, and the situation changed. And now that the situation changed, he feels like he wants to return it. It's an incredibly noble thing to do.
Absolutely,
incredibly noble thing to do. And what does he do? He posts a thank you and an announcement on Reddit, our FFXIV, outlining that what the situation was, and that he would be returning the money. And the torrent of shit that Mithrie has gotten because of this,
unfucking believable,
is ridiculous. Ridiculous. All right, we've come to blows with our FFXIV before because because of their moderation staff. We had Iane on the show. We worked all of that out. We ironed all of that out. We hugged it out. I think we have a pretty good understanding of the challenges that the mod team has to deal with over there.
I'm getting an extremely gay vibe.
But your fucking community, you people over there, you pieces of shit. I want to read out loud some of your responses. Now, Mithrie did a video where he read some of these and he responded to them. But I want to read this out loud so you can hear your own fucking words. BP Boopsy. I'm going to start with you. For your own sake, as a representative of this community, I really hope that you post proof of the donation refunds when you're back on your feet. When I originally saw the post, I was concerned because if I was in your position, there are two things that I would have done before even considering asking for help on the internet. Firstly, I have emergency savings. I put away some from each month's salary so that I can make sure something like this were to never happen. I wouldn't be put in this position. Secondly, I would sell all my possessions that have any value. When I saw you tweet yourself packing up two computers, 2 monitors, and several game consoles, it made me sick to my stomach thinking about the fact that you begged the community for money. I do like you, Mithrie. I respect your content. You got a funny fucking way of showing it, BP.
Check your privilege.
I do like you, Mithrie, and I respect your content. And I'm so happy the community stepped in to support you in your time of need. Not all of us are that fortunate, but I hope to God that you have learned some lessons from this, and you will take precautions to ensure that you will not have to beg on the internet again. This is a very uneasy thing for me to post about another streamer in the FF14 world, but personally, this entire situation made me feel incredibly uncomfortable.
Heaven forbid.
Listen, you fuckwad. I'm going to tell you something right here. Good for you that you are in a position to make savings for yourself. Good for you. I'm proud of you. That's awesome. It's an awesome thing to have in your life. But to expect that from other fucking people, to expect Mithrie to take his computer, his monitors,
his livelihood,
the things that have value, and to sell them off, really? That is absolutely unacceptable. If it was, yeah, let me just go ahead and sell off all the tools that I need to do my trade. That doesn't make any sense. Hey, I'm a cook and I'm being thrown out. Let me sell my knives to be able to pay to get into some new fucking apartment. That doesn't make any fucking sense. You're shooting yourself in the foot. You sell all of your equipment like that. And the shit just goes on like this for pages. Ahmad stepping in. I have to agree with all of your sentiments. He's been very inactive in the FF14 world/community, really outside of this asking for funds thing. And even now, his activity before this posting goes back over 30 days is barely focused on FF14. So really, I hope he actually follows through on all of this.
You know,
he's not really. You're gonna sit here and say, "Oh, he's not involved with the FF14 community enough, guys. He's not worthy of your money. You fucking cocksucker." Do I not like you, boomerang throwaway?
The shittiest part about this is he didn't ask for money on Reddit. He announced that, thank you for all the money, and I'm giving it back. And that was what he posted on Reddit.
Yeah.
He didn't ask Reddit for money.
Exactly. This is ridiculous. And you people, it's so easy. You fucking keyboard warriors, you cowards, you keyboard cowards. You sit there and you can just rattle off opinions about people's personal lives. Fuck you. Mithrie and I haven't always seen eye to eye on everything. We've gotten in discussions on Twitter. But to think that you would do that shit to someone, that, you know what this is like? This is like that stupid, terrible Facebook group, Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn, when they removed the Kickstarter, or the Indiegogo for a fucking wheelchair. Dude needs a motorized wheelchair for his life. And what do? You go and you delete his post because it's spam.
Not in my house.
It's spam. Ugh. You people make me fucking sick. You are FFXIV fucking cowards. You know what this is? It's really, you know what it is? You're just mad. You're mad that if you were up against the same fucking wall, you wouldn't be able to have the resources to get out of it. Fuck you. Double fuck you.
Well, excuse me, sir, but I would have the money saved away already because I am intelligent and I have a savings account. God, do I do not like these fucking people as people. Yeah, I really hope, BP Boopsie, that the next Mountain Dew Extreme that you drink, or whatever stupid fucking drink that you drink, I hope it's infected with AIDS. I hope someone accidentally bled into it like Bruce Banner in the fucking Hulk movie. I hope somebody bled into it by accident. And I hope you drink it and you wake up the next day with AIDS.
That's a little much.
No, it's not. It's not, because the guy said, "Oh, you should be selling your shit off before asking for help." Fuck you. This is personal.
Apparently that person's in the chat right now.
Good. I hope they are. Suck a dick, motherfucker. Call up if you've got an iota of a spine. You'll call up right the fuck now and defend your shitty post.
Come forth, coward!
Do it. I dare you. I double fucking dare you. Unfucking believable. This pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality. Never ask for help. You people make me sick. Absolutely fucking sick. Someone needed help. And oh no, just let them figure it out. You fucking figure it out. This pisses me off. This absolutely pisses me off.
What did you say?
Hashtag for the AIDS. Thank you, evil hippie.
Easy enough.
I seriously, I hope you, God damn.
No, Area Tarker. If he does get AIDS, he can't. He has to sell off his shit.
That's right.
He doesn't get to ask for it.
That's right.
Excuse me, sir. He wouldn't already have the savings account.
Unless he supports
fine.
Hillary, then I guess it's totally within his character.
Beepy boopsie. Come on, I'm waiting to hear from you, coward. All right, we're going to wrap up the show. I'm really glad for Mithrie, by the way.
Fuck yeah.
Really glad for Mithrie.
Love you, Mithrie.
And seriously, and he did make a reply. Like, he made a reply video going through a lot of these really fucking asshole replies. And the best part of it was that he didn't apologize.
Good.
He didn't say he felt bad.
No apology to her?
Nothing. He was.
I'm happy to hear that.
There was an unequivocal fuck you from Mithrie as well, which good. Mithrie is a really nice guy, and he's someone who really believes in positivity. And as a consequence, he and I don't always see eye to eye in terms on humor. And I'm really glad that he stood up for himself and said, "No, fuck you. That's bullshit. Absolute bullshit. You should be ashamed of yourself." BB Boopsie. You in particular, BB. You really, really pissed me off. And the fact that that has 232 upvotes, by the way, that is just proof of what kind of community our FFXIV is. That's proof of the caliber of person that exists over at our FFXIV. Not only would they go to great lengths to shame somebody in a time of need, but 232 people would say, yeah, that's the right response. Fuck you. That's going to be it for Limit Break Radio for today. If Beepsy is hanging on the line, I'm sorry. You missed your shot. I tried to give you as much time as I could. Thank you guys for tuning in live here to Limit Break Radio. And of course, again, thank you to all of your contributions to helping me get the computer back up and running. Glad that we could have full video once again for this episode. And by the way, Final Encountercast is coming up next over at twitch.tv/Final Encountercast.
My dear Escalia, I hope that this helps less than 3.
Ooh, $200! $200 from Sakura-chan.
So that had to be Sakura-chan.
From Sakura-chan.
I would like to have you know that she donated $100 just the other day as well.
Sakura-chan, thank you. I'm looking forward to our wedding.
God damn. Well, I think we just solved some problems right there.
I can taste the jelly from Reddit.
I think it's sweet, isn't it?
Very
I need some peanut butter to go with that.
So good.
Yum.
Thank you very much, Reddit.
Thank you so much. Seriously, Sakura-chan. And thank you to all of you who have donated during this show. We don't come to you out of pity. We come to you because we want to make the best product that we possibly can. And you guys make that possible through your support at patreon.com/limitbreakradio and through PayPal.
One of the haters is like, why would you do that? Because they obviously see what you're fucking missing, not just in this show, but in life in general.
Yeah.
So fuck off.
Exactly. Thank you guys so much for listening to Limit Break Radio. We will be back, of course, next Sunday, as we always are. Tune in here live to Limit Break Radio at twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio each and every Sunday, starting at 1 p.m. for 3 hours of the best Final Fantasy XIV talk that you will find anywhere on the internet. I dare anyone to prove me wrong. Thank you so much to my awesome crew, Kahlo Landis, Juxtaposition, Escalia Rayumasa, our endgame correspondent, Nika Kayanian, as well as our producer, Kooky Persona, and our intern, Mr. Papa Woody. I'm Nero. Keep listening. Limit Break Radio is a production of LimitBreakRadio.com and Bender Media Productions. Today's episode was produced by Aniro Grigori, Juxtaposition, and Escalia Rayumasa. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. Funding for Limit Break Radio is provided by Mary Kennett, Captain Failboat, Zurian Urexin, Azura Giacho, Bianca Forwin, Kalina Ashsaber, Thor Carson, My Waifu, Satori Komeji, Darbykins, Sakura-chan, and fellow Limit Break Radio listeners. To support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/limitbreakradio. Opening music in this episode from Daniel Lambie. Listen to Man with the Machine Gun and other great tracks at facebook.com/Daniel Lambie Metal Gamer. Closing music in this episode provided by Husky by the Geek. Listen to this and other great Final Fantasy XIV and video game rock covers and original music at facebook.com/Husky by the Geek. In-game graphics for Limit Break Radio's Twitch stream are provided by Diamond Multimedia. Check out their line of AMD graphics cards and other hardware at diamondmm.com. Limit Break Radio and its hosts are solely responsible for its content. Thank you guys so much